Good evening and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth for the second session of the day and of course the start of Group B action. But earlier on this afternoon it was Group C that got underway. If you weren't able to watch any of it, here's Henry to bring you up to date with the highlights.
Well, the first afternoon session saw Ryan Harrington as a victor against Jack Vincent. It would be the only win, though, he would pick up on the fourth day's action here at the Live Lounge. As for Vincent, his solitary win again came against Martin Thomas. He'll need to pick up wins on Friday at the Super Series. As for Michael Huntley, he came back from a slow start to pick up a couple of wins from his day and still very much in the mix when it comes to qualification. And that's because the top bit of the table is quite truncated. Martin Thomas, 3 wins from his day. He may have felt he could have got more from Group C, but he's well in the mix. 2 points off the top 2, who are both tied on points. James Howell on 8, winning 4 of his 5 matches and played at a real consistent level throughout the course of his Thursday campaign. But the top honours and the top glories fell the way of Stu Wilson. He put in some of the most powerful performances on day 1 at the Super Series in Group C. And it's he top of the table with a very good leg difference going into day 2.
Yes, Stu Wilson sat top of the table given his superior leg difference. We can have a look now at the Group C table at the halfway point. What were the things that impressed you the most with his performance levels today?
I think there were a couple of things. He was allowed to embed himself into a position where he could kick on. Wasn't really challenged in his first game, but he did have a defeat today where he played really well and lost. But his response to that was really, really good. And he left this arena this afternoon just feeling really chipper. And I think he would probably say that's his best day of darts he's had here.
Yeah, he's feeling chipper. James Hurrell level on 8 points with Wilson at the moment. How do you think he'll be feeling, though? Because there were a few matches where he didn't perform to the level we know he's capable of. He was shaking his head. He didn't feel like things were all going his way. How do you think he'll be assessing his day's play?
I think he'll be very happy on Thursday, considering what happened on Wednesday. He got no points yesterday. Today, almost a perfect campaign. But the truth of the matter is, he hasn't really played to his full potential all week. And that's ominous for everybody else, because maybe he's working up to that in the same sort of way that Mike Warburton did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I guess if you're picking up the points, it's easier to get over the fact that the performance levels aren't quite there. Let's have a look at some of the numbers then from the opening session in Group C. And I think it's fair to say that overall average slightly down on what we've seen so far this week. It did take a while for the campaign to really get going. Checkout rate almost up at 31% in there as well. What catches your eye when you look at those numbers?
I think that performance from Martin Thomas against Mike Huntley in game 14, that's what caught my eye, because at times Martin was a bit lost with his game, but he was really pumped up for that match against Mike, and I'm really looking forward to game 2 tomorrow between those two. That 97 average, it really did look better than that, but one of the best performances I've seen this week. It was a great game.
Yeah, the standout contest of the day for me, and I think you'd agree with that. Let's have a look then at what the bookies think is going to happen this evening in Group B. Here it is. No surprise to see Leonard Gates as the 11-10 favourite to go on and top Group B. You can't disagree with that, can you?
Not at all. Not with the way things have gone for him over the last couple of months. Jacob Taylor's odds have shrunk this week. 2-1 is very fair for him. But look at Lisa Ashton at 22-1. That is a bit bemusing for me. I would have put her maybe at 3rd favourite. So if you think that Lisa's going to continue in the same vein of what we've seen from her in the last couple of days, she might even win this group. You just never know. That's worth a quid.
Yeah, it's almost as if those odds were compiled after the first day of action in Group A, because she really sped up, didn't she, on Tuesday and Wednesday? That really, really suited her.
Yeah, I think she's definitely more in tune with what she needs to do now to get through to another Saturday night here in Portsmouth. 22-1 doesn't make sense to me, and if she reads that, she'll feel like she's got a point to prove, and she's dangerous when that's the case.
And quite interesting, we spoke to Diogo Portela prior to this session getting underway, and he was saying that he really thinks Jacob Taylor is going to be very, very difficult to beat. So he's already thinking about getting a 2nd or 3rd spot. Do you think that's a healthy mindset coming into this?
Yes and no. I think a lot of players would give the stock answer of, well, I want to win this group and nothing else. But ultimately, in this format, you have to be top 3. Just getting in the top 3 is good enough. And for me, maybe that is a healthy way of looking at it.
Absolutely. Right then, let's have a look at Assets Acker for this evening that returns just over 5-1. Quite stingy tonight, Paul, with your selection.
Well, when it comes to the odds for this group, they're very hard to pick, like they were in Group C. Portela versus Taylor, most 180s for Taylor. And that's probably because we've got experience of what he's done this week. 11-10 for that one. Gates versus Portela, handicap betting, obviously minus 1.5 for Gates in that one at 8-11. Ashton versus Gates, handicap betting for Gates. Obviously, we're going to look at Gates a lot because of what he's done, not just this week, but in previous weeks. He's a strong player, and if he comes out firing tonight, everybody's got problems.
And just a quick word on Justin Hood, making his debut here. Of course, he made it to the last 32 on the Challenge Tour back in January. What are you expecting to see from him tonight?
I think this is the ideal group for him to come into. I think he's a superior player when it comes to being under the radar. When I first saw him play, I didn't know much about him, and within about 4 or 5 legs, I thought, this guy's dangerous. But when you think about the group tonight, there's going to be a lot of focus on the people who have got reputations. He can come in here and have a freebie, and that is really, really good for him to just go out there and play. And the way he thinks about it, this is ideal for him.
It certainly could be. Right then, let's get the action underway and hand over to Henry Deacon, who's going to guide you through all the action alongside this man.
Thank you very much, Abby, and a very good evening, everyone. Well, we saw some darting delights in Group C, and we feel like this Group B is one that just cannot possibly disappoint. We've got a real international flavour. We've got both North and South America in representation this evening, and it is a North and South American duel that's going to kick off our night here at the Live Lounge as Jacob Taylor of Canada takes on the Brazilian, that is Diogo Portela. Diogo, who we have seen many a time here at the MODUS Super Series, still only at the age of 34, from Sittingbourne nowadays down in Kent, and played in 5 PDC World Championships. Up against him, Jacob Taylor, a man who day by day we are finding out a lot more about, and the more we see, the more impressed we are about the man from Flowers Cove in Canada. Well, Charlie Corsby was in charge of our afternoon session. Danny McNamara is in the middle tonight and sat alongside me in the commentary box for all of the action. It's a very good evening. Paul Nicholson.
85.
Yeah, good evening, Henry. This is going to be super, this group. And now it's very different to Monday morning. The very first game that we saw when it came to week 8, we looked at Jacob Taylor and thought, I wonder what we're going to get from this guy from Canada. What we got was a 4-0 victory over Lisa
45.
Ashton. And since then, we've taken notice. He's very, very good. And when you consider his
60.
statistics over the last 3 days, I think he's better than good.
He's very, very good. The only issue was in Group A, he wasn't very, very good.
Yeah, I like the way you put that, actually, because
100.
not many people would have beaten Barry Van Peer in any Group A. But when you consider that Taylor is averaging just the tiniest
99.
bit under 94 for the week over 15 matches, that has got to tell you something. It's all well and good putting in a 92.5 average in your first game,
101.
and you think, okay, that's a good performance, but what will he do next? We've been asking that for the last 3 days.
100.
He's playing at a level that would contend on the
170.
PDC Pro Tour. And Diogo knows it.
I think Diogo's at an interesting point in his career.
60.
Of course, that's maybe a harsh way to
160.
describe it, but we've known the potential for a long time. It's about possibly now taking that
80.
next step, having that next little kick.
110.
I don't think crossroads is too harsh at all. I think he knows he's at a crossroads. I'm not even sure what he thinks is next. Apart from tops, of course.
70. Jacob, you require 80.
Great first start. That's a good bumper,
60.
but he went the wrong side of it.
Diogo, you require 40.
So chance at tops for a hold a throw within the space of 7 minutes now. You can't guarantee much in this sport, but I think I can guarantee this. You're not going to be able to do that many times against Jacob Taylor, but regardless, it is an opening leg on the board. Diogo Portela taking the opening rubber in Group B.
You have to carry on regardless. And after having a little chat with Diogo earlier, we got to know a little bit more about what's happening in the world of the number 10. As seen on the back of the shirt. He's always had a very strong shirt game as well. And he has got 3 different shirts with him this week, so that's positive. He's thinking Saturday. And he's already mentioned that he doesn't really care whether it's first, second or third, as long as he's there on Saturday. And I don't mind that.
To be in the raffle, you have to buy a ticket.
He has reverted to some older equipment recently. Seems to be working.
180.
I think based on what we've seen this week and what we've seen from Diogo recently,
140.
there may have been an awful lot of money put on the truth to win this one heavy. But sometimes when people get wind of what people expect, they see that as motivation.
You should follow the advice of Mahatma Gandhi, never back the early kickoff.
100. Diogo, you require
Famous
85.
meme.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that one.
Of that or memes?
I don't say a lot of memes. How much can he see? Not much.
47.
That green and yellow flight
134.
was firmly in the way. But he does have a decent look here for a 2-0 advantage in this first match of the night.
Well, we said that 7 visits probably won't cut it in leg, so he's improved. This is the 5th visit of a leg. But can he get it sewn up? How much can he see? Not enough.
We saw that earlier from Ryan Harrington. Just being the tiniest bit too defensive on that double 19. And Diogo pays the price. I want to get your perspective on something, Henry, because I've been banging this drum for about 5 years now. I've known Diogo the thick end of a decade. And I think for his own darting identity, I don't actually think I've told him this to his face. I've mentioned it on commentary a few times. I just want to see what you think. To follow in the footsteps of great Brazilian footballers, I think he should just be called Diogo. Just get rid of the surname and just have the one name. Just for the identity. I would really applaud that in the same way as I applaud 177s.
So in the style of a Brazilian football commentator, shall we say, Maximum!
It's a shame it wasn't.
It was a maximum. It was a 177. So
I know I'm taking the mick out of you. But you make a good point, though. If we were
57
Latin American darts announcers, maybe it would be funny to do things when he hits the ball like that. I'm not going to take that away from Alan Warren a little, by the way.
67.
Could do it here. Oh, please do it here, Diogo. This would make for great symmetry. Taylor could finish on the ball, conceivably. That's
41.
Unlucky. That's very much unlucky.
Jacob, you require 86.
Things like that tend to happen when it's not your night. And it's not his leg. Somebody's warming up. And somebody is called Jacob Taylor. Just because he has a bad start to a match doesn't mean he won't have a good match. We've seen it plenty of times this week. And I'm sure there are plenty of people tuning in on the East Coast of Canada watching him at around about 5:15. Good time to be watching darts, just before tea time.
Just before supper.
100.
I think they call it dinner over there. You probably saw the same tweet as me earlier in the week, where it's called different things around the UK. But it's definitely dinner
60.
in Canada.
Where are you on that debate?
I've lived in many different places. I've had all of them. Apart from supper. Just sounds a bit posh for me.
135.
Tea's for the afternoon, dinner is for the evening. Just putting it out there.
140.
Darts is for every minute of the day. Because we did have our first 1 o'clock start for Group C today, which was very successful for Stu Wilson and for James Horrell.
59.
The good news for them is to be back at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, beginning on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel before joining your good selves on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m.
81.
One thing that Jacob's actually changed tonight is that he's put in some fresh flights. Throughout the week, he's stuck with the ones that are a little bit bitten, a little bit roughed up. New group, new flights.
46. Jacob Iroquois
I
123.
wonder what his fortunes are going to be like. Just stay on the 54.
55.
And now hope that you come back.
161.
Come back he will.
65. Jacob Iroquois.
Considering
68.
how good he's been on double 16 this week, I'm not surprised to see him go for that 36.
48. Diogo Iroquois 96.
We're talking about a really good counter here in Diogo. He knows what he has to do now. Hit double top. Biggest dart of the match. And he's up to it. How good was
Diogo
that?
Portela.
A great recovery from Diogo to draw level at 2-2 and get his throw back.
Even though he's looking away in the background, there was just that little nod of appreciation there from Jacob Taylor.
Game on.
He appreciated how clutch that was under the pressure that Portela was under, because if he doesn't take that out, Taylor's back for double 10. He probably makes it 3-1. And at that point, Portela's trying to stay in the match.
60.
That one dart at tops has come and gone for that 3-1 advantage. But Portela with the darts has only kicked off with a troublous visit of 60. And look at how the Canadian responds.
180.
Yeah, that's the ideal response, isn't it? Against a player that has won a Challenge Tour event in the past. But amazingly, it's
23.
5 years ago. I was just digging into the past to see when that was, and I cannot believe that it was 5 years ago.
40.
It does not seem that long ago. Beat some good players en route to that title. He beat a certain Carlo Van Peer en route to that title, and we have Ivan Peer in Saturday night already, don't we?
60.
He also beat Barry Bates, a good friend of Michael Huntley, who's involved in Group C.
140.
Beat a certain Ricky Williams, who is from around here. So there's a lot of connection with that Challenge Tour win to what we have here in Portsmouth. But maybe the most
60.
impressive win en route to that title he had
141.
was against someone in the last 16 by the name of Callan Rids.
And if Diogo is to win the £5,000 prize, he may have to beat Carlo's brother, because they are brothers, Carlo and Berry. Played in a Pro Tour last year, did Carlo Van Peer, as a top-up replacement from the Challenge Tour, as Taylor now looks for this 46 to break the throw, to go 3-2 in front. If he can do that, he'll have the throw to seal the opening win of Group B.
He has been so good on that double this week. One of the best players I have seen on double 16 here this year.
Six leg Jacob to throw first. Game on.
He's like one of those potato chips that you put your hand in the bag for, and he doesn't have any
100.
sort of corrugation. He's unruffled. I like a mix of different types of dart players. I like passionate players. I like the players like Jacob who
81.
don't celebrate anything. There's a lovely mix this week. But it's his standard, it's his technique, it's his temperament that's really got me.
140.
I'm amazed that my Canadian friends have not told me about him before.
Well, if you didn't know about Jacob Taylor before this week, you're most certainly getting a glimpse of him now. Winner of 3 events on the
58.
CDC circuit in 2022 and in 2023 here in Portsmouth. He is showing us an exemplary level, which is Pro Tour worthy.
60.
Well, let's put it this way. If they're having qualifiers for Madison Square Garden in June, this guy's going to be one of the favourites.
He's playing in the Cross Border Classic, which is one of the qualifiers for those 2 events at Madison Square Garden. It's not just the
60.
US Darts Master, but if you qualify for that, you'll get a go at the North American Darts Championship, which qualifies your way to Alexandra Palace if you're successful in that.
I wouldn't be shocked to
41.
see him at Alexandra Palace at the end of the year. Not with this kind of form. And Diogo knows a thing or two about Ali Pali. He's beaten a certain Steve Beaton there, which reduced him to tears.
58.
Beating a legend like that on that stage.
60.
I'd cry as well.
Some people just cry at the sheer sight of Steve Beaton.
60.
Taylor a ton away from the match. Portela can only set up, he can only hit and then hope.
68. Jacob Iroquois,
And he's got
100.
time as well. I love this player.
60.
Didn't mess around with 2 double tops. Didn't go 16s. He just said, he's got 176. I'm going to score a steady 60 and I'm going to get it next time. That's
40.
uncomplicated.
Jacob Iroquois,
Good thinking.
40.
And Taylor kicks off Group B
Taylor.
in the same vein that he kicked off in Group A. It's a 4-2 win against Diogo Portela, and he does so with a, well, characteristic Jacob Taylor performance, an average of 91.73, 57% when it came to the doubles. Portela got off to a really good start in that game, just tailed off towards the end, but there was some positive signs for the Brazilians in that one. So Taylor with the win. Coming up after the break, we're going to see a debut in this competition for Justin Hood. He takes on Lisa Ashton, some opening assignment for him, and we'll watch that in your company after this short break.
Lisa Ashton gets her campaign underway next. Finished third in Group A, of course, pipping James Hurrell to a Group B spot. It was a slow start to the week as she lost her opening 4 matches, but the way she regrouped from there was really very impressive indeed. She takes on Justin Hood, who has the opportunity to quietly go about his business over the next 2 nights, maybe play with freedom from the off. And before we get into the action, let's hear from Happy Feet now. He's been speaking to our very own Henry Deacon.
Justin, welcome to the Super Series. First time down here in Portsmouth. What's your first impressions on this setup?
Yeah, it's a brilliant setup down here. It rivals the PDC, to be honest, with the professionalism. Back room's good laugh. It's just nice, relaxed.
How the darts been at the minute?
Very good, very good. I'm just enjoying it. Just go out there, you win, you lose, you lose. Can't change it. Just enjoy it.
There seems to be a little bit of confidence about you. You trying to move that into this week?
Yeah, I've always been a confident player. I've never worried about how I do. If you win, if you play well, you win. If you don't, you lose.
It's a tough group, but have you set any goals and expectations?
Yeah, I come here to win it. I'm not here to make the numbers up. I want to win it, and hopefully I will.
Well, we look forward to watching you play. Justin,
Yeah,
good luck.
Thank you very much.
Justin, welcome to the Super Series. First time down here.
Nice to hear from Justin Hood. A very, very talented player who maybe has just taken a bit of a back seat over the last 18 months. But he's back, and he's making his debut here. He is always smiling, this guy. And it's always nice to see a different style of nickname. Happy Feet. I wonder how happy he's going to be at the end of this game against the Lancashire legend, that is the Lancashire Rose, who has risen from the ashes this week after losing her first 4 games on Monday morning and Monday afternoon to get herself into Thursday and Friday night action. That in itself is an achievement, but now the slate is clean.
Now, you are a big connoisseur when it comes to dart shirts.
Yes, I wondered where you were going with that.
Come on then, let's talk about the
59.
Justin Hood Happy Feet shirt.
That's all right. As far as branding is concerned, it's pretty much on
45.
point. I do believe that movie is about dancing penguins. As to
98.
why he's called that, I haven't a clue.
I'm sure I've heard a story where Justin needed to play a game in a pair of shoes. The pair of shoes wasn't quite big enough for him, and so the shoes are moving up and down. They called him Happy Feet because he was in shoes that were way
40.
too big for him for this particular game.
That's just more proof that nicknames come around when you least expect
60.
them. As for Lisa's nickname, it's pretty much what you see is what you get. She's from Lancashire. Obviously, the Rose is
93.
very much a part of Lancashire culture. And it's very fitting. I like it a lot.
85.
Yeah, some nicknames naturally come to people, but some also are non-broadcastable.
91.
Must go back upstairs.
96. Justin, your wire.
That was a bit risky. We're about to find out just how much that could possibly pay off.
100.
Because if she
Lisa, your
hit
wire. 130.
a single number, that 19, she wouldn't have got this shot. Bullseye.
93.
She did have a
Justin,
shot.
your wire. 20.
And now Hood, lefties on double 10.
Game on the first leg.
Every
Justin
single
Hood.
time you see a new left. Lefties love 10s.
Second leg, Lisa to throw first.
Well, I suppose
Game
the question is, we haven't seen Justin play on our TV screens for a while, so what we will find out over
96.
the next couple of days is where the Hood's at.
on. 121.
I've got nothing. I really didn't know where you were going with that. I thought you were going to say something
59.
like, I'm surprised he didn't come out with a hoodie on. The thing is, Justin, in his part of the country,
58.
he's got an excellent reputation. We're talking about a player who's played at a very high level, but yet
45.
to possibly do what he's destined to do. He's got really good technique. He reminds me of a slightly smaller in stature
99.
James Wade. That prod and that twist of the dart, back and forward, really compact.
81.
He's just a very, very tidy operator.
95.
And he's causing Lisa Ashton problems at the start in what is
41.
a quick-fire group.
Justin, your
8 games per player.
128.
And just like I said about Group C earlier, every loss is magnified. Double 4. It's all right, Justin. I had to look twice as well.
124.
Now he's gone inside on the double 4. He's going to come back for double 2. Ashton not on a finish, so
59.
she could have parred in a
Justin,
couple
you
of triples there. That would have
require
made this double very interesting.
This is a difficult shot.
4. Games on the second leg.
Yeah,
Justin
right.
Hood.
What a great dart that was. Uncomplicated. Just goes for what he sees.
Third
And
leg,
based on the
Justin
interview that he
Hood.
gave to you, Henry,
Game on.
he just doesn't get flummoxed by anything. He goes up there, he wins, great. If he doesn't win, he loses, he moves on.
58.
What a great attitude that is, especially in this format.
And the way that he started, this confidence is justified. But always expect a riposte from the Lancashire Rose. It's her first score of a ton or more in this match.
We're in leg 3.
59.
And there you go. That's a little bit strange.
55.
But if the comeback has got to start, it has to be now, you feel. And she's averaging 83.2 for the week before this game began. Slightly up and down this week.
100.
Very much like that on Monday, 83.57 in getting 2 points. So 1 win from 5. But that was the last
81.
game she played. She lost the first 4, like I mentioned earlier. A much improved day, points-wise on Tuesday. Getting 6 points, but playing 5 less on her
57.
average. Then the average was much better yesterday, 87.29. And she got less points than Tuesday. She got 4.
130.
But it was good enough to make Group B. But she did have to dodge a few bullets along the way. She needed Ryan Harrington to lose a match at the end and James Hurrell to lose a match, and they both did,
140.
giving Lisa this chance.
55.
And she's made significant inroads on the Hood throw. This is for 15 if she could
45.
convert the double 10, which she doesn't. And so Hood now
87.
back for 87 for a 3-0 lead. 20. And bull.
62. Lisa, you require
Somebody
10.
asked me earlier in the week, where would you grade Lisa Ashton on double 5?
No score.
No comment.
Justin, you require 25.
Slightly against what a lot of lefties do. He's got
Games
9
on the
double
third
8, but he
leg,
knows
Justin
best. And it's
Hood.
3-0 Hood.
This is a proficient enough debut performance here. 80.5
Fourth
the
leg, Lisa
average.
to throw
3 out of 7 on the doubles.
Game on.
There's a lot to work with here for Justin Hood.
I wonder how many people call him Robin.
100.
It's like that song, isn't it? Justin Hood, riding through the glen. Justin Hood,
57.
taking all the legs. It's not going to catch on, I promise.
That'll be UK number 1 by
81.
Sunday.
No, it won't. There's no chance of that.
Have you seen half the UK charts these days?
I don't even follow them anymore. It's not worth it.
You're right there.
27.
Problems for Ashton at the start of a group again. But fortunately, 3 people can go through this group.
26.
Not just one, like Group A. I wonder what Barry Van Peer's doing tonight. Maybe watching a bit of this to see what the competition's doing while he's relaxing.
190.
He'll take note of that. First 180 here in Portsmouth for Justin Hood.
40.
It's been a steady display. It's getting better than steady. Now he does have a few fluctuations in rhythm as well. Just watch out for that. He scored that 105 with that previous visit, with leaving 132 in mind.
94.
That was interesting thinking.
32.
57. Would have left that bullseye.
64.
I already have evidence
Alicia requires 60.
that he is a very good counter. Oh, Elisa's survival skills.
20.
Oh, that is really,
Justin
really
requires
wicked.
68.
Bends the wire twice.
In most of her unsuccessful double attempts, as Hood goes for the ball for the match, for the win,
and the match,
in style.
Justin Hood.
Justin Hood, what a debut at the Super Series. He deposes of the 4-time world champion by 4 legs to 0. Work to do for Lisa Ashton, but Justin Hood out of the gate. Ashton missed 8 darts at double, but that feels cruel because half of them were really good darts that bent the wire. As for Justin Hood, he had 8 attempts at double. He converted half of them for a 4-0 success against the Lancashire Rose. We're going to see Leonard Gates in action. He's the last player yet to see at the Super Series this week. He takes on Diogo Portela, still looking for his first win of the night. And that's coming up on the other side of this short break.
So then our final Group B player to get their campaign underway is Leonard Gates, the bookies' favourite to top the group. Of course, lifted his first World Seniors title at the weekend, getting the better of Richie Howson to win the Champion of Champions. The last time we saw him here, of course, he finished runner-up to Owen, the Master Bates. He'll be hoping to go one better this time around and scoop the £5,000 prize himself. Let's hear what he had to say to Henry a little earlier on.
Leonard, welcome to the Super Series. It's been quite a few days for you, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's been a journey, baby. I'm still here doing it.
You still riding high after Sunday?
Yeah, I kind of calmed down, got some rest, regathered my thoughts, got some work in, you know, just like finishing a week and the weekend off with the MODUS.
And back here for a second time. We came so close, didn't you, last time to picking up the weekly title. Looking to go one better?
Actually, this is the third time. But, yeah, man, I was so close last time. I think I relaxed a little bit, didn't come up with it, so I'm back to try to do it again now.
And it's a really good group in there. Also, your fellow North American colleague in Jacob and players like Lisa Ashton. It's a very good group.
Oh, yeah, it's a nice group. And like I said, this evening is going to be full of fire, full of darts, full of triples, full of doubles. And for 2 days now, we're going to have to battle it out to see who can get through to Saturday.
We are so looking forward to it. Leonard, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If you didn't like that interview, then you just don't like darts. Because he is maybe the best injection of serotonin into this game that we've had for years. Now, he's been around for years. But what a story in 2023 for Soldier Leonard Gates. He has arrived in the steel tip game because for the last 10 to 15 years, he's been all about the soft tip game. But you're going to be seeing a lot of him. And he's up against Brazil's premier player. His hometown at the minute is Sittingbourne in Kent. He has been shuffling around England for the last few years.
Just like Leonard to throw first. Game on.
But Diogo will now play his second match against, like Henry mentioned earlier, the last player playing their first game of the week.
140.
I'm just glad that Leonard confirmed in the interview that we will be playing lots of darts. It's always a good start.
Yeah, he's not wrong. But this is what modern day darts is all about. And this is what the MODUS Super Series is about. It's where worlds collide. It's where different talents from different countries collide.
60.
And if I'd have said to a lot of darts fans 5 years ago that you'd be seeing this on a Thursday night with a Brazilian player against an American, they would have said,
100.
I'm sorry? Welcome to 2023, everybody. And I love it.
And the fact there's a Canadian in the group as well. It's like well, this is an international tournament. And this is proof in the pudding. And we're seeing top international play from Leonard Gates, who perhaps unsurprisingly at the beginning of the week was a favourite to go on and win it following his exploits at the Champion of Champions, something we will talk in a bit more depth about over the course of this game and throughout the course of Leonard's campaign in Group B. But first things first, he's left 1-2-1 after 9, what Paul Nicholson was describing earlier on this evening as elite play. Will this be an elite finish and an elite start?
Diogo, you require
I'm going to give Diogo a lot of props here because he has hung around in this first leg and he might even steal it. 8-8. Bravo! What a leg that is from Diogo. He was hit so hard by Leonard Gates in the first 11 darts. He survives a bull and takes out a mammoth finish. That was brilliant.
That was the equivalent of having 30% possession in a football match and then having a free kick from 35 yards out and then finding the top right-hand corner.
I was tempted to go full-on Brazilian commentator there, but I thought, now's not the time. First things first. You're never going to say first things second, are you? Did you know that Texas has got 2 time zones? He's from Texas, is Soldier. I didn't know that until now. So as it stands, In the central time zone,
140.
it is 12 minutes to 5. In the mountain time zone, in the west of Texas,
190.
it's an hour behind. So technically, if you live in that part of Texas, you could maybe have 2 New Year's Eves.
55. Diogo, you require 41.
How about a 12 darter followed by an 11?
Game
How
for the
about
second
two
leg,
12s?
Diogo Portela.
I didn't see this coming. And when Diogo Portela averaged just shy of
Third leg,
80
Leonard to throw
in his
first.
first game,
Game on.
maybe over the last 20 minutes he's warmed up a little bit.
Let's just put the averages out there.
59.
It's okay.
Yeah, but you got to remember Stu Wilson earlier, who will know Diogo very well because they used to live in the same area together, around Preston.
125.
Stu averaged 111 in the first 2 legs against James Hurrell earlier. He went on to lose 4-2. He's nowhere near across the line yet,
55.
but it's a great start.
I just want to mention something. He's just hit a 125 and his average went down.
By 0.03.
It went down.
40.
And he's just had a Robin Hood. And it wasn't against Hood, so it doesn't really work.
99.
I was getting too carried away.
It's a long night.
It's one of those stems he's using. They've been around for a very long time, those type of stems, where you get a Robin Hood, the prong on it bends. And one of the only ways that you can get that prong back into place is either pinching it with your fingers or
59.
biting it back into place. Yeah, just a little bit more on those time zones in Texas, because we really do hope we've got some viewers
123.
from the United States watching Leonard. I'm sure we have. If you are tuning in on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel tonight, get in touch with us at MSS Darts on Twitter.
96.
But there are 2 counties in Texas that have that mountain time zone, contrary to the rest of the state. They are El Paso and Hudspeth.
59.
They are on mountain time, so they are a little bit earlier in the day.
Which is quite ironic that El Paso has actually got the newer time zone. Usually we're used to old El Paso.
100. Leonard, you require 106.
I should have seen that coming, really. Diogo's going to have a shot here for 3-0.
58. Diogo, you require 81.
He's playing at a level that I haven't seen from him in a long time. Bullseye.
56.
Wow, that must have looked good in
Leonard,
the
you
air.
require 48.
Because that camera angle really illustrated its final third in the air. Gates needs 8s.
40.
Gates does not get
Diogo, you
8s.
require 25.
And Diogo might even need 8s himself. But he's decided on 12s.
Sixers.
13.
Doesn't go. Is that a crucial passage to play in this
Leonard, you
match?
require 8.
He's had 4 darts for a 3-0 lead. But he's going to
No
get more
score.
because that final dart
Diogo, you require
touches the
12.
wire but goes the other side.
Crucially here, he's been given 8 visits for a break of throw.
Game shot on the third leg. Diogo
And let's face
Portela.
it, he should win that leg if he's given 8 visits.
Fourth leg, Diogo to throw first. Game
It's
on.
easy for us to say that based on the week that Leonard has had, he should cruise through this group.
85.
But that's not the sport I know. It's vastly unpredictable. This is a different tournament, it's a different day, and a very different challenge.
100.
He's played a lot of knockout darts in the last week. This is different.
Well, I'm not sure anyone's ever
43.
played the amount of darts in a weekend that Leonard Gates has. He wins a qualifier, plays an open event, plays Taylor on the telly and win, then plays another open event, and then goes and
140.
wins the Champion of Champions. Probably needed the 3 days off.
You know what they say in elite sport? Rest is part of your preparation. And if he's rested well this week, he should play well.
140.
105 plus needed for Diogo. That's why he went 25 second dart.
65.
More evidence of him being a really good tactician.
121.
Double 14.
Game
And
shot
he
the
finally
fourth
gets a leg, and it's a
Leonard
good one.
Gates.
It's a 12 darter. We may be seeing a bit of a fight back now.
Fifth leg, Leonard to throw first.
That's interesting.
Game
It
on.
almost looks like Diogo's a bit uncomfortable in that shirt. One thing that these players are going to have to get
83.
used to over the next few months, because these players have played here since September the 3rd when we launched. And in fact, Diogo was here the very first night. It's probably felt a little
121.
chilly here over the last few months. On the south coast of England, during the spring and summer, it can get quite warm.
100.
Conditions are going to be different.
Remember back in Southampton when we had that air conditioner we had to put in the previous room between matches to cool the playing area down?
Things that I am very glad that we don't have to do
100.
anymore. What we had to do to make sure that that room was at a good enough temperature for play.
28.
We won't have to worry about that as much here because we have a much better playing arena, a lot more airflow.
As for the commentary box, that was stifling at times. Luckily that our bottom half was out of vision so we could wear shorts.
39.
I didn't. I was thoroughly professional. Trousers and jeans all the time. I'm just winking at Henry as if to say I didn't do that, when in fact I did on a couple of
190.
occasions because it was very hot. It was about as hot as Leonard Gates is now. He's joined the party late.
93. Leonard require 110.
Oh, that's a great second dart.
74.
It's a big ask,
Diogo, you require
but don't forget he took it
148.
136 earlier. There's not a great deal of difference between the two. He gave it a chance.
85.
I admire that second dart.
Leonard
At least it wasn't short.
36.
He gave it every chance. But it feels as if there is a seesaw in
fifth
terms of
leg,
momentum
Leonard
in this
Gates.
game. Gates brings it back to 3-2. He's bumped his average up to 92. And you feel Portela, who has the darts in this leg. This
Game
is
on.
his chance to get the job done.
Do you fear for him if he doesn't?
You'd expect Leonard Gates to be on a finish after
80.
minimum 4 visits, maybe even 3 in the last leg.
One thing's for sure, he will not be perturbed by being 3-0 down. He's got himself out of sticky situations a lot in the last week. This is just another challenge.
58.
And if you look at Diogo's average now, compared to what it was after leg 2, things have changed.
100.
All the 8s are lucky for some. Maybe not so lucky for Diogo. The only number he wants to see now is 4. In place of that 3 next to his score in
97.
yellow.
Well, it's a 37-point gap on what he had at the beginning of leg 3, a 1-2-5.
100.
This is really good from Gates. 3 tons. And he's on for one of the rarest things we see in 501 darts at the minute.
96.
A 5-ton game.
It's only because people are taking out 12s these days.
Well, they're going 105 instead of a ton.
83.
Oh, Leonard.
Diogo, you require
You've missed the 4th ton.
170.
Portela is going for the ultimate climax.
$96. Leonard, you require 180.
Very much game on if this goes then. Just don't go 18s first. You know how I feel about that. Well done, Lenny. In my face. He goes 18s first and gets it done. It's 3-3.
6 legs played, half of them won with ton plus checkouts. 1-2-1 and 1-1-8 for Leonard Gates has helped his way back to 3 apiece.
You know what I was saying about the fact
45.
that organisers of darts tournaments in the United States have the best names for tournaments in the world? I will argue that with anyone. We've got some great names for tournaments and one on the European Tour this weekend. Probably the best name for a European Tour event, the International Darts Open. Good luck to everybody playing there this weekend in Riesa. The 100th European Tour event as well. Bit of a landmark. But nobody can tell me that a country on earth has better names for dart tournaments than the United States. Australia comes pretty close. They've got some belters, like the Wagga Wagga Open.
57.
But I'm just going to pluck a few out over the course of the night. I'm going to let you know some of the things that Leonard Gates has won.
100.
I'm going to start with one of my favourites. The Choo Choo Classic, which he has won twice in 2014 and 2018.
38.
I do believe that's played in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
94.
correct. We'll have a little bit more on that subject later in the evening.
Because we're coming to the boil of this final leg, and it is advantage Leonard Gates, who's going to have the luxury of at least 6 darts on 162 to get this game wrapped up, and the favourite to win this group would still a first win, but boy, has he had to do it the hard way.
Do you know what? In soft tip darts, you could finish this leg with a 162 on 3 treble 18s. Just don't do it now. Don't do it. Well done.
122.
That's really good, you know. Slightly unconventional. But the fact of the matter is that Diogo,
66.
after leading 3-0 and playing so well in the first 2 legs, is on the verge of losing for the second time.
And from 3-0 down, Leonard Gates seals victory in his opening game of the group, showing the resilience and steel of a man in which the bookmakers have put as the favourite to go on and win this group. And if you look at the numbers, a 92 average, 30% on the doubles, but have a look at that, 2 ton plus checkouts en route, including that 1-2-1, and they were timely. From 3-0 down, a 4-3 victory is Leonard Gates. With Diogo Portela, he'll feel as if he could have had 4 points to his name. He played one that first game against Jacob Taylor, raced into a lead. Did so again here against Gates, but he's pointless at the midway point of his evening. Well, it's games number 2 for Jacob Taylor and Justin Hood after this short break.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
And you can book your free tickets for finals night by visiting dartshop.tv. But back here in Group B, next up an encounter between two players with 2 points to the name already in Jacob Taylor, who seems to have picked up where he left off in Group A with another average in the 90s and yet more clinical finishing in his opening game of the session. He takes on debutant Justin Hood, who settled into life here at the Super Series very nicely indeed with a whitewash win over four-time world champion Lisa Ashton to kick off his campaign, hitting 50% of his attempts at a double in that one. To see how this one unfolds then, let's rejoin Henry and Nico.
Thanks, Abby. Time to see more from two winners from their first game. And someone's about to get to 4 points ahead of the likes of Gates, who just snatched a win from the jaws of defeat. Portela, who has now played twice, will have to wait until he plays Justin Hood in Game 6 to see if he can get his first points against the man from the West Country. But from the east coast of Canada, the serial problem for his fellow participants will now have another crack at another Englishman.
Well, potentially the problem this group might have,
First leg,
and the one
Jacob
thing they
to
may
Rover.
struggle to handle, is the truth.
The truth hurts. And the truth is,
100.
he's very, very good. You've had some tweets, haven't you, from people from North America tuning in?
Yes, thank you to our North American friends for tuning in to us at the Super Series. It's great to have you on board as Justin Hood kicks off a max in this match. Yeah, we had a tweet from Chris Young. Thank you for tuning in to us, Chris. Watching on YouTube
100.
in Mississippi, which is Central Time Zone, supporting Leonard Gates this evening. Might be supporting some perfect darts. Not to be this time for
99.
Justin Hood.
They have darts tournaments all over the United States and Canada.
180.
And the depth of talent over there is very, very deep. But it's the really courageous
39.
players
Jacob, you require
that travel
121.
and come to Europe and travel a little bit further afield. They're the ones that get noticed.
89.
And I'm talking about Jacob Taylor because his journey here, we talked about it earlier in the week. Long drive, interior flight,
83.
international
Jacob,
flight,
you require 32.
and then he got to Portsmouth. So far this
Gains on the
week,
first leg,
seems to
Jacob
be worth
Taylor.
it. That's a 13 darter to start things off. And you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? How good has he
Second leg,
been in his
Justin
second
to
game?
throw first.
Every
Emo.
day this week. He has been absolutely remarkable.
140. $100.
Apart from Wednesday. I was just looking at the Wednesday's play. I think I was referencing the first 2 days of the week, but he did lose his first game on Wednesday.
99.
But he did bounce back and beat Barry Van Peer in his second game on Wednesday. That's what I was thinking of. A 95.1 average and 4 out of 11 on the doubles.
100.
So he is undefeated in his second game in a campaign this week. So that's bad news for Justin Hood.
I can go one further than that. He's played 13 games in his second match of a session. He's dropped
140.
one leg.
That's really bad news for Justin.
121.
We have this
Justin, you
ideal
require
seat
122.
to establish patterns. We don't have a great deal of information about Justin, about what's likely with him. But it might be double 16.
106.
I don't think Jacob knows too much about
40.
Justin.
Justin, you require 16.
But I think Justin knows more about Jacob.
Game shown the second leg.
How good is this
Justin
game
Hood.
so far? 2 legs in. This is world class.
And so we're going to do the after second leg
Jacob
average
to
thermometer
Rovers.
again.
Game on.
Yeah, but we did that after a couple of legs with Diogo and he ended up losing.
41.
Okay, we'll get rid of them now.
Good plan.
97.
Justin's an organic player to me. I know he's not freshly picked out of the ground without any chemicals. He's someone who doesn't overcomplicate the game.
140.
He stands, he aims, he throws. Little twist, through it goes, and every now and again, he aims a dart,
60.
but sometimes he feels that he doesn't want to. That's what I mean by organic. He just does what he feels.
26.
If I'm being ultra critical, it's that maybe his action needs a bit more rhythm and a little bit more rigidity. I think when he has that aiming aspect to his throw,
96.
he's a little bit better. Have you noticed
100.
that Jake Taylor, when he's throwing, every dart is exactly the same? Maybe that's his biggest strength. He doesn't just fling a dart away,
56.
even when he's miles behind in a leg, which doesn't happen very often. But every dart gets exactly the same attention. Up, point,
100.
throw. And if you can do what he's doing right now, you won't go far wrong.
140.
This is a
Jacob, you
proper
require
ding-dong.
94.
This is a proper battle. These are two players going hell and leather at each other.
Game on the third leg, Jacob Taylor.
There was a gasp of, oh yeah, for my co-commentator colleague, because that was so good. The truth
Third leg,
feels
Justin
good.
to throw first.
That
Truth's
really
looking good.
That really was a great checkout. It was uninterfered as well. 25 was
60.
good. The single 19 was good. The bullseye, it didn't need a bounce. It didn't need a guide.
140.
I'm starting to think, and I do not want to get ahead of myself, because we don't know what is going to happen by the end of the week. But whatever happens, post week 8,
140.
he's on my radar now. I can't believe I didn't know this much about Jake
96.
Taylor before this week. He's grabbed my attention in the same way as watching Raymond Smith at the back end
131.
of last year.
Talking about grabbing attention, have a look at this from Justin Hood. Average just under 103. He's had 4 scores of 140 or more. He's just had a 131 there.
Justin, you
He's
require
really taken the task to
170.
Taylor. And he's got 6 darts on 170. And that's not the first time this week we've seen Taylor hit a ton to leave 165.
It's been the tale of the tape this week with a few
62.
players, particularly with Martin Thomas this morning, or should I say this afternoon. I'm still getting used to the afternoon session stuff. But he left 166 like a pro.
57. Justin, you require 108.
They've both left 108 after 12. And Jake Taylor's going to get a somewhat
56.
back-breaking
Jacob, you
attempt
require 108.
at this 108. And he doesn't get a look. That first start was a bad lie for that 57.
56.
So the
Justin, you
reprieve for
require
Hood
52.
must be used. Double 16.
Game
Now,
is
how
on the
many
fourth leg,
left-handers do you
Justin
know
Hood.
that prefer double 16 to double top? I'm reaching here.
Fifth leg,
I'm a
Jacob
left-hander who
to
prefers
throw
double
first.
16 to
Game
double
on.
top.
You don't count.
I won a couple of games at the Southampton
Of
Dart
people who have
Series.
played here
81.
in a competitive environment, in a group, before you go anywhere with that,
59.
think about left-handers. Martin Phillips, Mark Webster, James Wade.
96.
I could go on and on and on. All of them prefer tops and tens. Not Justin Hood.
57.
If it works, it works. What was it Fleetwood Mac famously said? Go your own way.
140.
They weren't talking about darts in that track, I can promise you that. I know the backstory of that song. It's not about darts.
85.
This is where the producer on OE said, swiftly move on.
That's what Jake wants to do.
83.
Someone's going to be on 2 points after 2 games.
180.
But who's it going to be?
Jacob require 101.
That second maximum might just put a bit more pressure on Jake.
85. Justin, you require
Ooh, there was a gritting of the teeth there from the
120.
Canadian. He might smell a bit of trouble. Oh, he gave it a chance. That was a positively
16.
thrown shot.
Jacob requires 16.
Jake comes back. The double 8. Oh,
8.
no.
Justin, you require
And Justin's
60.
thinking, oh, yeah. Like the Kool-Aid guy. Tens.
50.
And not in, and he threw that one very quickly.
Game shown on the fifth leg.
Have we
Jacob
just
Taylor.
witnessed the most important passage of play in this match? Taylor misses darts to go 3-2 up. Hood could have capitalised. And so
Six
Taylor,
leg,
with the
Justin
second
to
opportunity,
throw first.
takes
Game
it to
on.
go 3-2 in front. We can marvel and wax lyrical about the
94.
brilliance in terms of the scoring stakes. But the most important moment may be what they didn't do as to what they have done in this match.
85.
It's interesting you say that, because they say the difference between playing soft-tip darts on electronic dartboards
66.
and playing on steel-tip dartboards like this is that soft-tip boards are about what you miss. Steel-tip ones are about what you hit.
100.
There he is again, just changing that rhythm up. And it works this time.
134.
He knows his game better than anybody. And for me, this game is just really intriguing.
134.
I almost want it to go the last leg. And I'm already looking forward to their game tomorrow.
94.
Both averaging in the 90s. And the mistake that Hood made
150.
in the previous leg,
Justin's last score was 93.
it could be fatal.
Justin, you require 114.
Unless he hits this. Oh, double 18. Oh, that's brilliant.
Justin Hood.
And he's showing brilliant flexibility as well, using all sorts of different routes to success. Jake Taylor was thinking,
Seventh and
I've
final
got you
leg,
on the
Jacob
rack.
to throw first. Game
But
on.
Happy Feet is still dancing.
That was the equivalent of having the 8-ball tied up and then someone making a 5-cushion
100.
escape, potting the ball and then cleaning up. Taylor thought he had done the job in the leg, and then Hood comes up with a timely 114, Hail Mary-esque.
98.
It's the last leg this game's deserved.
Just like in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves,
81.
really. He thought that Robin Hood was dead. He wasn't. You haven't seen that movie, have you?
No.
It's terrible, but it's really good.
Like one of those cheesy rom-com type films.
Sort of. It was good for 1991.
Same year Rod Harrington won the World Masters, we found out.
Same year that Dennis Priestley won the world title. Now there is a good year. If darts in 1991 was a wine, it would be a vintage. This has been a fabulous match of darts.
56.
There may only be 2 more darts left in it. Double top.
40.
This would be some get out.
154.
He's going to go south. And his chance is gone. For now.
79.
And so Jacob Taylor comes to the board wanting tops. And now tens.
30.
But he has missed match darts.
You'd have to say that's the first time this week that Jake Taylor has failed.
55.
But he does get a reprieve, but not on a double that anybody likes. He does. It's a great game. And the averages were very, very similar, but they understand that all 7 legs there were very competitive. Like I said a little bit earlier in the match, I'm already looking forward to those guys playing again tomorrow. That was a tremendous tussle, ultimately won by Jake Taylor, who was the first person in this group to 4 points. He's proving just how resilient and consistent he really is. When we come back, it's maybe the game that you've all been waiting for tonight. It's the 4-time world champion Lisa Ashton taking on the man who thinks that life is good. It's Leonard Gates.
So then, Leonard Gates looking to build on a superb comeback win in his opener, completely unfazed at 3-0 down to Diogo Portela. He reeled off 4 legs with outs of 118 and a 1-2-1 to complete a 12-dart leg. And next up for him is the Lancashire Rose, Lisa Ashton, of course looking to up her level in this one, having been whitewashed with a mid-70s average last time out. Before we get into this one, let's hear from the 4-time world champion. I caught up with her earlier this week to cover a whole host of topics. The full interview will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel this week, but here's a little taster for you. Lisa, back here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, but I want to start by talking about your year so far. How do you feel you've been playing in 2023?
And I've set off, my form has been up and down. I've struggled with a bit of health issues, but I'm getting through them now. First setting off, like the first women's series, I've been up and down, wasn't well. But I know I'm getting through that now. I'll sort myself and start picking myself back up now.
And you mentioned that first block of women's series events there. The overall standard is improving every single event. Of course, Bo is now competing in them as well. It does mean that you've not been the dominant force on the women's series that you previously had been. How do you deal with that?
It's brilliant to see Bo's actually come across and the standard she's playing, and it just shows it's not just me and Fallon no more. It's brilliant. It's showing what she can do for her age. I'm happy I can still get a standard at my age and still competing with the young guns. But it takes pressure off me a bit more now because I did so well in the last year. Now Bo's taking it. Bo's taking pressure off me, so now I can just go and play. People still expect a lot, but I'm happy. My game will come back, and hopefully I will compete more at my level. I know I can.
Great to hear from Lisa. And like Abby said, you can see that full interview with her via our YouTube channel. Just type in MSS Darts on the YouTube search bar and you will find that really insightful interview with the Lancashire Rose about what her ambitions are for 2023. Age is no barrier, of course. Both of these players played as part of the World Senior Championship at the Circus Tavern. Just a matter of 6 or 7 weeks ago, was it? Doesn't seem like that long ago. But Soldier is someone who knows how to win from any position. He was 3-0 down in his first game.
First leg, Lisa to throw first. Game on.
Lisa is looking to get her first points after losing out to Justin Hood in that second game of the night.
45.
But I've got a very direct question for you, Henry. I'd like to get your opinion. I don't think it's up for debate that Trina Gulliver is the greatest female player of all time.
40.
But is Lisa Ashton the second one?
54.
There's 2 ways you can spin this coin. Lisa Ashton wins 4 world titles and didn't just win
59.
those 4 world titles. The last 3, no one really got close to her upon that assault to winning those world championships.
40.
I feel like sometimes because of what's happened elsewhere, we've seen the likes of Bo Greaves and what Fallon Sherrick's done over the last 2 or 3 years. I think sometimes Lisa's achievements may
92.
get a little bit lost in translation. But look what else she's done. The first female player to win a tour card. First ton plus average on
44.
TV. I think there's a genuine debate as to who the number 2 player of all time is. But I think Lisa has that position right now.
81.
I will categorically say that she is the second best player of all time. The top 5 is up for debate.
95. Leonard require 120.
But without a shadow of a doubt, we have to look at major honours. And she's not finished yet.
43.
Phil Taylor is the number 1 in the men's game because he's got 16 world titles without even looking at the rest of his career. Trina's got 10. Lisa's got 4. Then you've got Anastasia on 3.
101.
Suzuki's got 2.
Leonard require 86.
But you're right. To put this subject to bed here in leg 1, she's won a lot of other stuff as well. And Leonard is trying to put this leg to bed on double 7.
72. Alicia require 122.
Needs 3 more 18s and gets them.
97.
Just misses out on the bull.
Leonard require 14. Game shown
Right in the corner of double
Leonard
7 to
Gates.
take the lead then. And this will not be the same sort of uphill climb as that first game of the night for
Second
him,
leg, Leonard
where
to
he was
throw
3-0
first.
down.
Game on.
Go on, let's hear your top 5 women of all time then.
60.
Have a little stab at it right now for us.
Right now, off the cuff. So, we're saying Trina 1.
They don't have to be in order. I'm not
Okay,
going to put you... I just want the 5 names.
Trina Gulliver,
43.
Lisa Ashton, Fallon Sherrick, Dieter Hebman, and I'm going to say Anastasia Dobomislova.
100.
Correct. Closely followed by
46.
the likes of Mikuru Suzuki, Frances Hunselaar, Mandy Solomons, and Bo Greaves is probably close. But she's in the infancy of her career.
171.
I'm sure she's going to break that top 5 sooner rather than later.
Well, she's got every single possibility the way she's going to have GOAT status.
119. Leonard require 170.
He's just hit a 171 to leave this 170, showing that maybe he's not as bad a counter as we think.
58.
It's been something that us commentators have perhaps labelled at his door at times, but
46.
the more and more we see him on
112.
TV, the less and less we highlight it because it's an area of his game that we can visibly see he's been working on.
Oh, yeah, he
From the
has.
second leg, Leonard
That 15
Gates.
darter proves that he is plotting his way around a steel-tipped dartboard maybe better than ever. In fact, there's no maybe about it, he is.
Third leg, Lisa to throw first. Game
Lisa's
on.
biggest problem is that she still hasn't got a leg tonight. And if she starts another campaign with 4 losses, like she did on Monday,
34.
I don't see a huge chance for her to qualify. We've seen people qualify with 8 points in Group B before.
100.
But to be in extra comfort in a group like this, you really want to get to 10.
96.
And Leonard Gates is a great example of what the Seniors Tour is about. It's about players at his age.
96.
It's got 2 ends of the spectrum for people like Phil Taylor, Martin Adams. It's a great way of them to continue playing high-level darts, and they've achieved so much in their career.
136.
But for someone like Leonard Gates, the opportunity at his stage of his career to almost have that peak of his career now, and the opportunities he gets to win
140.
titles, to do things on the big stage.
135.
He's in the form of his life. And the last year or so, he has become a major name in this sport.
95.
Was that an army joke? Because he's called Soldier, a major name. By the look on your face, you're saying no.
42.
I'm just a poet, I don't even know it.
40.
Tops. 5s.
30.
Chance.
Leonard require 123.
Last dart just felt a little bit rushed from Lisa. And so it gives Gates the opportunity, but he's not going to take out the 1, 2, 3.
57.
And so Ashton is back
Alicia
for double
require
5.
10.
Half a centimetre high is the ideal guide for these small bulbous barrels.
Game
But that's
on the
more
third
ideal
leg,
than anything
Lisa
I've just said.
Ashton.
First leg of the night. And now she can build on that, but a break of throw is needed sooner rather than
Fourth leg,
later.
Leonard to throw first. Game on.
Let's have a little look at our latest round of strange names for tournaments from the United States. We had the Choo Choo
100.
Classic, which Leonard won back in 2014 and 2018. Round 2 is the Groundhog
59.
Open. We've already referenced that famous movie from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania earlier today. because there was a lot of stuff being said, not once but twice in this room. It felt like Groundhog Day. But yes, back a little bit earlier this year, in fact, on the 4th of February, Leonard beat Caden Newbury 3-0 in the final of the Groundhog Open in Littleton, Colorado. We've got more strange names for tournaments a little later in the evening.
I take it there wasn't a Gobbler's Knob Classic Plate competition.
61.
Gates. Won the treble 17 on the back of the 161.
You may have just outdone me on movie knowledge. That is a really good one. Bravo, Henry. If you're not aware, that's actually where they have the ceremony for Punxsutawney Phil in February, the Groundhog Day.
I've not just completely lost the plot and getting ejected from the commentary box.
Not yet. Double 4.
Game
and Leonard is 3-1 up.
Leonard Gates.
He might just be the second most famous Leonard in the world now, behind Leonard Hofstadter from The Big Bang Theory.
Game on.
He doesn't look to be that comfortable at the back of the stage there. I hope he's okay. Lisa was saying in her interview with Abby a little bit earlier in the week that she has had some health issues this particular year, which is never good to hear. If you think throwing darts is easy, even when you're injured, think again.
123.
There are more injuries in this game than ever before because of the amount of darts that people are playing.
You think about the schedule of a darts player now.
59.
Look at the top end of the sport. You're a Premier League player. You're playing Premier League Thursday. And potentially, if you're not a seed, you're till Friday, Saturday,
83.
Sunday. Then back on Thursday, play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, potentially again the next week. Then possibly there might be a Players' Championship in the middle of the week before, or the week after, for the Premier League.
43.
The elite to the game don't get breaks anymore.
You have to create them for yourself. That's good
100.
schedule management. That's what some players are doing brilliantly at the minute. I think someone like Ryan Searle
100.
is a master at that at the minute because he's about to take a bit of a break. And just at the right time, I feel. 3 straight legs needed for Lisa. Only 1 break of throw needed.
92.
But maybe a hike in quality needed. Averaging high 70s so far tonight. Against someone like Leonard. And up against the likes of Jake Taylor. And
60.
Portela a little bit later on in the night.
60.
She may have to dip her bread a little bit better.
40.
That third dart's come crashing off the barrel of the first, but Leonard Gates is just getting a little bit audibly frustrated with himself. There's been a couple of shouts in this leg just to try and G himself up.
95. Alicia require 20.
Double 5 again.
15.
And it doesn't work this time.
Leonard
Gates is 100 points away from joining Canada's Taylor on 4 points in the table. And what does he want to do? Interesting.
60.
When he went to the right-hand side of the oche, I wasn't sure whether he'd go tops or 60.
5.
Twos
Game shot of the
never
fifth leg,
lose, apparently.
Ashton.
And they don't lose that leg. But this is the break that Lisa needs.
6 leg Leonard to throw first. Game on.
There it is again.
83.
We do have microphones on the stage, both behind the board, in the hand of the referee, and audibly we could hear
140.
Lisa's texting an opponent just saying, come on. It's not clicking for him right now.
And in the rearview mirror, he is seeing Ashton pull on the comeback charge. There was a concern at one point in this game that Ashton could go 2 legs without the win of a leg.
60.
And now, you could possibly say, with her stealing the Leonard Gates darts, with a visit like this, she could conceivably be a matter of darts away from becoming the favourite to win this match.
When the hands go to the head, Ashton looks up and sees that he's not happy.
140.
That might be a really good invitation for her
140.
to think, I've got you just where I want you. She was hoping that was 2 trebles.
100.
It's worked out pretty well. She just has to dodge
161.
a massive out. And she has.
83.
She's kicked on till he tops after 12. And it gives her that break of throw that she craved. All the way for the 3rd consecutive game.
7th and final leg, Lisa to throw first.
This was exactly what we thought was going to happen from this group. We thought it was going to be tight. We thought it was going to be tense. And
45.
correct we are in those assumptions. But it's only a 45 start for Ashton. And Gates jumped all over it.
$85.
Takes the darts after 3. You can't argue with that. And he just keeps on running. Just when Lisa thought, I've got you right where I want you. He wakes
60.
up.
Winners find a way to the finishing line.
Well, winning is a habit, isn't it? When you get that winning feeling, which he's had
49.
twice this week, you don't want to let it go. It becomes very addictive.
60.
And plenty of time to get it done again by 4 legs to 3. He's putting himself through the mill tonight, that's for sure.
He's played each and every one of the 14 legs he could have conceivably played in his first 2 matches. Well, it might be okay for him because he may well end up getting the 4 he may need in each of his 2 matches. He's 88 points away for doing exactly that and to put himself 4 points from 4 and to continue this North American domination of this Group B table. The bullseye is what he wants.
51.
This would be some way to get out of jail.
160.
This first dart must be in the top half of the 60 bed. It wasn't far away. Now, which route
60.
is he going to choose for 37? Because
37.
you don't leave yourself this number very often.
It is 2 16s
shot
for victory number 2. And it is a North American domination at the top of the Group B table. Leonard Gates joins his compatriot Jacob Taylor in making it 2 wins from 2 matches. He gets the better of Lisa Ashton by 4 legs to 3. The American and the Canadian having a good night up to press. It's another impressive average from Gates. A mid-80s average this time round. 4 out of 7 when it came to the outer ring. And that 112 checkout. We've seen 3 ton-plus checkouts from Gates in the opening 2 matches of the evening. And we're going to assess the first 5 matches after the break with Paul Nicholson up on the balcony. And that's going to be followed with a battle of England and Brazil. It is Diogo Portela up against Justin Hood next.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Leonard Gates has just made it 2 wins from 2 on the opening night of Group B action. Paul Nicholson alongside me. 2 victories for Leonard Gates, but it didn't always look like that was going to be the case, did it? Started to berate himself in that second match as well. Did that surprise you slightly?
Yeah, it did actually, because he doesn't strike me as that kind of player. But he has been tested severely so far tonight. He was 3-0 down against Diogo Portela, but he managed to come through that one. And there, he was in a pretty precarious position, not having the darts in the last leg, but managed to get over the line anyway.
Yeah, let's have a look at the league standings then. This is our first look at the table in Group B, and it is, as we mentioned, Leonard Gates 2 from 2, as is Jacob Taylor, of course. No surprise, 2 more averages in the 90s from him. He is just so consistent, isn't he?
He spends more time in the 90s than the Happy Mondays, that's for sure. It's just great consistency from Jacob Taylor. And you're going to have to wait until the very last match to see those two go up against each other. I just wonder how many points they're going to have when they get there.
Yeah, and Justin Hood, talk us through what you've thought of his debut campaign so far. What have you learnt from his performances?
I think I'm still learning about the intricacies of his game, but from what I've seen of him before, he's just exciting to watch. And he just gets up there and has fun. Maybe that's one of the reasons for his nickname, but the interview that he had with Henry earlier, a lot of the answers that we got from him were what we call stock answers in the trade. But ultimately, it's how he thinks. And he's not lying to us. He's just going up there, he's playing. If he loses, he's still got a smile on his face. If he wins, great. And I think he's great to watch.
Yeah, and Diogo Portela, that's who's up next for Justin Hood here in Group B. What do you think his mindset is going to be like coming into this one? Because he has found himself in relatively good positions in both of his fixtures so far tonight. How do you think he deals with this sort of situation? Do you think he has that mental strength?
You have to try and find the positives from what has already happened. He has been in winning positions, and that is the positive. I have got myself into that position. I just need to push on from that. If you focus on what happened after that, maybe it'll happen again. So just try and get that good start again and then push on from there.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of his stats from previous visits here at the Super Series. As Nico mentioned a little earlier in commentary, he was part of the first ever finals night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Didn't work out for him the last time we saw him here, finished bottom of Group C. But what catches your eye when you look at some of those stats? Because the checkout rate is just above that 30%, isn't it?
We can see that 105 as an average is possible because it's been done before. The overall average is just a shade under the average for everybody who's played here. But highest check at 150, I would expect that to be bettered at some point. But he took part in the very first match here against Martin Adams. Do you remember where you were when that took place? Because I was in Budapest at the time.
I was stood right here where I am right now. So my life has really progressed from that moment, hasn't it? The next match then, how do you see this one going?
I hope for Diogo's sake that it doesn't go the same way as the other two. But I think it should be close. And if he gets a good start, he's got a great chance.
Right then, let's get into it, shall we? Henry Deacon, back over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Abby. Well, Diogo Portela will want to be reminded, though, of how that first game went against Martin Adams at the Super Series, because Adams won by 4-0 in that one. And, well, tonight has been a case of near misses for the Brazilian thus far. He's had opportunities in his games against Jacob Taylor and against Leonard Gates, but he hasn't been able to get points on the board. As for Justin Hood, well, it was the perfect start to life in the Super Series, getting the better of Lisa Ashton by 4-0, 81 average. We thought it could be something to work with here. And there were signs that he could get better. He did get better. The only issue he had was he ran into Jacob Taylor. And we know what he can do. It was a 4-3 defeat for Justin Hood with a 92.36 average. A 114 checkout en route as well. And that really was the most impressive game that we've seen so far this evening. But what we're going to see from our sixth match of the night is Portela with the darts.
$137.
But the more and more we see a Justin Hood, the more and more impressed you get by him.
58.
We saw him at the last ever BDO World Championship at the Indigo 02 made it to the last 32 of that particular tournament. There were signs
58.
there, but we haven't really seen him on our TV screen since. It's been about 3 years since you last saw him on the telly.
100.
I'll tell you what we've seen so far has been impressive.
I haven't actually seen Justin Hood in the flesh for a while.
114.
When I saw his profile photo a little bit earlier tonight, he looks very different to the last time I saw him. All of the hair on top is gone. The beard has come about.
58.
He's gone full Scott Waits. Spends a bit less time in the shower now, though, because he doesn't have to wash his hair.
130. Diogo, you require 164.
I do believe, if my database on players is accurate,
60.
that his hometown is
Justin, you require
Glastonbury.
62.
Gets a bit rowdy a couple of times a year, doesn't it?
No score.
Oh, oops.
Diogo, you require
He was going for a 20 and he got a
104.
60. Bust the score. That's an invitation for Diogo. Oh, that's a little bit unfortunate. He did exactly what he wanted. He was trying to hit that dart
48.
and guide it into the
Justin, you require
48.
62.
Same plan, different result.
$46.
Doesn't get what
Diogo,
he
you
wanted.
require 56.
And so Portela, well, that's again. He's straight into the wrong bed. Up for tops.
16. Justin, you require 16.
Well, it's been a tumultuous leg in terms of getting down to the double. What will happen now the doubles come for the players? Fours.
Game shot on the first leg. Justin
Didn't
Hood.
hang around with that double four shot, did he? And he doesn't hang around. He skips around the stage and takes an early
Second
lead
leg,
against the
Justin
throw.
to throw first. Game on.
This afternoon, I was talking about England captain James Horrell and his record in playing for England.
100.
Happy Feet has played for England. He did so last year.
95.
He played in the British internationals alongside the likes of Scott Williams, Lee Shewan, Aaron Monk,
57.
and the aforementioned James Horrell. Plenty of English international participants here in the MODUS Super Series. His record in those internationals
100.
was perfect. 2 wins from 2. So in an England shirt, he's undefeated. Beat David Rogers in the Welsh game by 4-0
100.
and beat William Kirkwood against Scotland by 4-2.
A bit like that David Nugent record for England where he played one game and scored 1 goal against Andorra famously.
64.
That was a great shot from Diogo.
57. Diogo, you require
Let's see if he can back it up
142.
with a 1-4-2 at the end. Maybe he can. Oh, yeah. Double top.
122.
It's almost a shame that he had to stop there, because if he didn't, he may have hit that tops. More quality.
71. Diogo, you require 20.
This is starting to heat up a bit.
He's trying to guide it in off the stem. Just like
Games on
that.
The second leg.
That was
Diogo
very
Portela.
reminiscent of a few players who love to do that little step across. Dimitri van den Berg does it. Simon Whitlock
Third
does
leg,
it.
Diogo
Daryl
to
Gurney
throw
does it.
first. Game
One
on.
of the best exponents of that going across the ocky thing was our great friend Kyle Anderson. It's been 18 months
137.
since we lost Kyle. And I know that Diogo was very good friends with him.
134.
I wouldn't be surprised if he learnt that shot from Kyle.
What was nice at the World Series last summer was they gave out an award for the best performing player from the Oceanic region, and it was honoured in Kyle's memory.
And that should remain as well. Awards like that should stay in place. I know we're a little bit biased here at the MODUS Super Series, but it was given to a very good friend of ours in Gigi Mathers. And that means a lot to him.
97. Diogo, you require
Haven't seen Gigi in a while. He's gone back to Australia after losing his tour card. If you are tuning in, hope you're well, Gigi. We all miss you here at the Super Series. He was, well, a bit of Mr. Everything, wasn't he, here at the Super Series? Spotter, players, marshal, the lot.
Yeah, we really do miss him. Is Justin missing double five? He is not.
Justin Hood.
That's a 2-1 lead. And a wry smile on the face of the Brazilian. Because now he's behind again.
Fourth leg, Justin to
Are we beginning to learn about Justin Hood's level? 81 first game, but the sample size of the game and a half
59.
after is reading 92. Is reading around a third of his double attempts are successful.
You think about what you've got to do to get in the England team. You've got to be exceptional at county level. You don't get into the England team being good. You get into that team being
134.
excellent. And for a lot of the county season, in fact, players in the past have won 9 games out of 9 in a county season and not been selected for England.
100.
You've not only got to win most of your games, you've got to average high in all of them as well. So I'm not surprised to see him at this level the last couple of games he's played.
126.
I'll tell you a little story about an England international by the name of Phil Nixon. Around 20 years ago, he was selected after a brilliant
85.
county campaign for County Durham. He got put in to play. He won 3-0, averaging well over 96.
100.
And didn't get selected for the next game. That's how strong the England team was.
$90. Justin, you require
Another player that we really
82.
miss. There's the 2. And the setup follows.
42. Diogo, you require
Diogo's been asked some
130.
very, very tough questions tonight. Here is another one. He
94.
is so close to good form, isn't he?
40.
If you've watched every dart he's thrown tonight, he's just so close. Justin Hood is closer, though.
Justin Hood.
And Diogo, the one thing that he's closer to right now is 3 defeats from 3.
Fifth leg, Diogo to throw first. Game
He's
on.
been practicing hard, and it's paying off in the respect of we've seen an improved level of performance, but
60.
just waiting for that to correlate into results. I think it would be fair to say that we've seen Diogo play worse and go through groups.
57.
And that's not anything against him whatsoever, because he's playing well here, but
I think that's a very fair thing to say. A lot of people who have come through these doors have played a
95.
lot worse than Diogo and still qualify. But darts is somewhat subjective at times.
80.
Putting in a certain number is no guarantee of success. It's all about the situational pressure that we talked about earlier today. If you miss the vital shots, you could pay the
43.
ultimate price. That's an erratic first dart from Justin.
81.
Now, Diogo will go 19s first here. He'll be hoping to leave 132. Now he's hoping to leave 170.
57.
Now he's hoping that Justin misses with his next 2 darts. But he's not going to. Doesn't like the light, so the switch is the right thing to do.
139.
So it leads in 144 after 12, and Portela can now only hit and hope.
100. Justin Yorquhar, 100.
Been another really good performance by Justin Hood. I'm going to round it off this time for 144, but he's going
90.
to set things up quite
Diogo
nicely.
Yorquhar,
Leads himself a single to double combination should this 146 not go.
Interestingly, when he had 142, he went 2 treble 17s and chose not to go
93.
for 2 treble 19s on
Justin
146.
54.
Justin for tops.
Game shot.
And he's in a very
that's
healthy
Justin
position
Hood.
after 3 games. He finds his way to 4 points with a very comfortable win here by 4 legs to 1, averaging just short of 90 in the end. But it is a bunch of stats that tell you he's going to be real trouble for everybody in this group over the next night and a half. 40% on the doubles is good. High checkout of 130. Really did change the game, that checkout as well, to give himself that 2-1 lead. And he is in a very good attacking position in the table. We go into game 7 now, and it will be Lisa Ashton trying to get her first win of the night. She's up against Jacob Taylor for the 4th time this week.
Jacob Taylor and Lisa Ashton next up tonight, and it's their 4th meeting of the week. It's the Canadian who's won all 3 encounters so far, back-to-back 4-0 wins on Monday and Tuesday before a 4-2 success yesterday. Will it be more of the same from the truth in this one, or can the Lancashire Rose get her first win over the Canadian and her first win in Group B? Interesting, when you speak to some players, they're very much aware of their head-to-heads with certain players for the week, and it does affect their level. Do you think that Lisa is the type of player who thinks about that sort of thing? A question for both of you in the commentary box.
Well, Lisa tends to be the sort of player that will go up there, throw, and see what happens. I'm not sure she's one that worries about head-to-head knockout darts. I think she's one of those that takes every game in isolation.
Yeah, I think that's right. Just passing her in the practice room on the way down from the balcony, she was just collecting her thoughts, just taking the time out. And some of the interviews that she's done in the past, I would say that she tends to focus on what's happened, maybe in a more recent sense. She's probably thinking more about what's happened tonight than what's happened previously in the week. I think maybe a couple of players that she's come across in her career might have a little bit of a summer house in her brain. But as far as head-to-heads this week, she probably doesn't invest too much in it.
First leg, Jacob to throw first. Game on.
So Taylor with the darts in this one, the Canadian. We did actually have a tweet from @USA Darts earlier on this evening. Anyone else enjoying the great coverage of the Super Series today? Great work from the team. Let's go Leonard Gates and Jacob Taylor. So plenty of North American representation this evening. And if you are tuning in to us and you want to send us a tweet, we are contactable via @MSS Darts on Twitter. As Jacob Taylor does Jacob Taylor things by kicking off with a max.
96.
We've also had some tweets about our debate about the top 5 ladies of all time. Who we listed was our opinion.
140.
Someone saying that we didn't give enough love for Stacey Bromberg. Well, we were saying our top 5. Personally, Stacey, bless her, she's no longer with us. Not in my top 5, but definitely a very talented player. And deserves a lot of credit for what she has done when she was with us. I don't think it's up for debate. She's the best player from North America ever.
12.
That record speaks for itself. That leg speaks for itself. It's a 13 for Jacob Taylor.
And Stacey Bromberg was the only PDC Women's World Champion, of course, beating Trisha Wright in the final.
Lisa to throw first.
Worth a mention. But that first leg, that was in bold. Bit of a statement.
100.
He's playing tonight, Henry, as if he refuses to be denied a place in Saturday night. And I don't see any way he doesn't qualify.
When you come from as far away as he's come from to be here, you don't come here for any other ambition than to make it all the way to the finals. We're just having a little bit of a rejig in terms of the scoreboard, so we'll have a little check and we'll go back into the commentary box then to discuss what we have seen so far this evening. And it has to be said that it has been a campaign that has been dominated by players from North America.
And in times gone by,
60.
There have been players and pundits and analysts alike who've said that drawing someone from that part of the world in a World Championship match or a World Match Play match is seen as an easier draw. But there have been anomalies over the years.
134.
What about in 1994 when Larry Butler won the very first World Match Play and beat the favourite Dennis Priestley?
177.
Things are starting to ignite in this game.
$140. At least you require 100.
Sometimes it's quite annoying how good the truth is. His action is so uncomplicated, he makes the game look simple.
38. Jacob, you require 108.
A 19. Does he want to go for the 19s here? It was a tricky dart, that one. Flight was in the way.
92.
And he was taken out of rhythm,
You require 84.
which means that Ashton has a chance to equalise.
14. Bullseye.
50.
And Taylor returns to
Jacob
double 8 for
requires
2-0 lead
16.
and a breaker throw.
Game on the
Right
second
in the
leg,
top corner.
Jacob Taylor.
Everything is going Jake's way. And unfortunately for Lisa, not much is going her way this evening. But we are now
Jacob
into
to
Friday
throw
morning.
first. Game on.
And we're going to have a lot of darts today. We will have the climax of Group C from 1 p.m. live on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel for the first couple of hours. And then on Sporty Stuff TV live from 3 p.m.
125.
When I mention Canadian darts to you, who's the first name you think of?
Jumper.
It will be the same for a lot of people. When I mention
140.
USA darts, who was the first player that comes to mind for you?
You'd probably say Larry Butler.
Potentially. But the heritage of
96.
Canadian darts and American darts, it spans all the way back to the 70s. Does it get the credit it deserves?
100.
I don't think so. Think about the tournament called the North American Open. That was one of the most important tournaments in world darts in the early days. People would travel from all over
60.
the world to go to
Jacob
that.
require 121.
I almost wish it was still in existence because it was brutal. How many times are we going to see
89.
Jake Taylor leaving doubles after 12 or leaving finishes like 121 after 9? At which point do we have to start
81.
calling him a genuinely
Jacob require
world-class player?
32.
He had an interview with you earlier in the week,
Game on the third
and he
leg,
warned us
Jacob
about
Taylor.
this. He said that I think I can contend with some of the best players in the world. I'm starting to believe him.
The truth, the
Fourth leg,
truth,
Lisa to
well, the
throw
truth is
first.
hard to
Game
handle.
on.
Especially when he's playing to this sort of level.
60.
Now, Barry Van Peer, who won Group A, has been watching this evening. He's watching a player gunning for his best average of the week.
100.
107.36 registered by Barry Van Peer on Tuesday.
65.
That's the biggest we've seen. The best we've had from Jake, 103.66. Not once, but twice.
55.
That record could be safe now. Barring a couple of big scores.
You think he cares?
Oh, he'd be happy with the 2 points.
140.
One thing that's been a strength of Jacob Taylor this week has been his grouping. And it's a shame that we can't get our graphics department to sort something out, because we could see whether we could get a
140.
lie detector for the truth.
$123.
Are they they're not even admissible in court, are they, those lie detectors? They're just used as a guide by the FBI and
It was just used for Jeremy Carr, wasn't it?
174.
Well, a 174,
113.
which is exactly what Lisa did not want to see. And now it's double 16 for Jake Taylor to potentially have his performance of the week.
57.
And if there's one double on this
Jake
board, he's
requires
been better at
32.
anything else, it's this.
Game
Just
shot
look
and a match.
what he's
Jacob
done.
Taylor.
It's exactly the same as the best average of the week. He's improved on his best by 4 points, and that's destructive from one of Canada's best. 107.36 and 4 out of 7 on the doubles. He's now on 6 points, and believe me when I say this, he is not far away from qualifying already because I just don't see him slowing down at any point. He may actually be playing better tonight than at any point in the week. That proves it. When we come back after the break, it will be Justin Hood back at the Yockey with his happy feet, up against someone who has very happy feet when he dances. That's Leonard Gates.
Justin Hood then, the debutant in Group B, is the first player to complete his round of games for the night, and he should be very pleased with his return so far. Can he make it 3 wins from 4 in this one? He's taken on Leonard Gates, the group favourite before a dart had been thrown tonight, and you just feel that if he shows the level of frustration that he did at times in his last match, Hood could be the type of player who can capitalise. But before we get into match 8, let's have a little musical interlude, shall we? You'll be pleased to know it does not involve Henry singing, so you can sit back and enjoy this one.
Shot and the match. Absolutely superb stuff here at the Super Series.
Would you believe it? Out of nowhere, he pinned a 170 finish.
This is just an exhibition of fantastic finishing. 180.
That was a cracking leg of darts.
144 were called, just 6 remain. This is the Champions League Grand Final. After 3 months and over 1,300 games, it comes down to this. We can't say that you weren't warned. DJ StepX at his best. Well, yeah. I bet you didn't think that the MODUS Super Series Massive were going to be on your iTunes. Oh, things are changing here. I just wonder what kind of dancing we'd get from Leonard Gates for that tune. It might not be up his street, but you never know, it might be.
I don't know, I think he'll dance to anything. He'll even dance with presenters up on the balcony.
I wonder if they're going to be playing that tune at Glastonbury this year, where Justin Hood lives. I'm not sure how popular it would be in Houston. Time will tell, because now we focus on the darts. And we will have a bit of a crowd here on Saturday night, hopefully watching some of the kind of action that we had in the previous game. That was a blockbuster performance from Jacob Taylor. His last match will be against Leonard Gates.
First leg, Justin to throw first. Game on.
But you'll have to wait until game 10 for that. This is Justin Hood's last match of the session.
59.
He has a chance of walking away with 6 points, which will be a very healthy return for his efforts.
60.
Incidentally, going into that musical interlude, I have heard that the B-side to that one is potentially a karaoke Bohemian Rhapsody.
57.
Please be kidding.
You'd be happy to know I am.
83.
Good. I've just perked up a little. A lot of work went into that song. One of our producers, Stefan Everard, does a fantastic trance track.
100.
If you want to hear the whole thing, you will in due course. Great start to this leg from Leonard.
125.
Now on 2-3-3, a lot of really wise counters will start on 19s. As everybody knows, you can get 133 downstairs with 7 19s. That leaves a 2 darter. But if you get 2 single 19s, you can then use the bull to try and leave a finish.
100.
But he goes a bit more traditional in leaving 133, his first finish of this match.
134. Leonard Gates.
He's just going to continue playing at this level all night, isn't he, Justin Hood? It is his last game of the night. And he's going to get a poke at the 59 to take the opening leg.
57.
Against Leonard Gates.
Justin Gates, 59.
Double top.
Game shown the first leg.
Very
Justin
tidy.
Hood.
That is definitely how you would describe a 17 darter and taking your double with the first attempt.
Take a leg, Leonard to throw first. Game on.
If you want to go from that kind of level, 88.5 average for that first leg. And if that's what you're doing all the time, you're going to be an excellent county player. You could sneak yourself into an international team. But in order to succeed in winning here, and I'm talking about the big checks, the 5,000s, the 20,000s, what kind of level do you think, Henry, that you need to be attaining all the time?
137.
For me, low 90s. I think a 91, 92 base level average will do a job. Well, actually, if you look at the example of Raymond Smith in Series 2, he pretty much had a tournament average of around about 93, 94.
I agree. I think what Raymond Smith has done in Super Series 2 is show everybody what you need to do in order to contend in your group, to win a group, and to get through those minefield groups on a Saturday night where there's only 2 games. If you can consistently find that 90 to 93 range,
57.
You will be a thorn in a lot of players' sides. But every now and again, you've got to put in a display like what we've just seen from Jake Taylor. Every now and again, maybe once a session.
57. Leonard Gates, 150.
You might have to go for the 3 trebles in sequence here. Treble 16.
90.
We can go that way.
I was just hoping that he would. You don't often see somebody hit 3 trebles in sequence on the board.
65. Leonard
See
Gates,
treble 20, treble
60.
19, treble 18. That's in sequence of numbers. Well, here it's tops.
Game shown
It's a very tidy result this time for Leonard. 1-1.
Well, that is just how you clean off a 60. Pop, pop.
Third
As
leg,
certain
Justin
broadcasters would say.
first. Game on.
For Justin, I think no matter what happens in this game, he can be happy enough if he's returned.
100.
2-2 in terms of this group is a very handy position to be in going into the final day's play. It puts you in a good position to go on and progress your way into
41.
Saturday night's final. But if he can beat Leonard Gates, he'd move on to 6 points. And the maximum Leonard would be able to get from the night would be 6 himself. He really puts himself into play in terms of that
91.
qualification contention, especially when you consider that Portela and Ashton are still yet to get off the mark. And they've only got 1 game each, and that's against each other next up.
100.
You know, I asked you a question earlier about who you think about in American darts when I bring up the subject. You said Larry Butler.
58.
For me, and this is more to do with the fact that I've had so many hipster conversations with the likes of Mark Webster in the past,
100.
talking about what happened in the early days. But I tend to go for Nicky Verashkel, someone who made the semi-finals of the very first World Championship. He was a bit of a trailblazer for American darts.
134.
I think of Rick Ney. I think of Paul Lim, who when he hit that 9-darter against Jack
100.
McKenna in 1990,
Justin Uruguay,
he was playing for the United
118.
States of America.
Justin Hood, it's a 118 for England.
Game
He's got the
shown third
number.
leg,
He's got the
Justin
leg.
Hood.
He leads 2-1. And it's halfway to victory here against Leonard Gates. Very much an American.
Third
Proud
leg, Leonard to throw first. Game
man
on.
of Texas.
Do you remember what he walked out to at Lakeside last year?
Bit of John Cena. That was a bit of you, wasn't it?
That was brilliant. That had everybody interested. It's a bit more soulful now what he's walking out to, and it really suits him. But that one time he walked out to My Time Is Now,
180.
that was brilliant. Just like that opening visit for Justin Hood.
80.
Can I join the bandwagon of we need to see Paul Lim at the Super Series?
It would be fun. It would just be nice to have Paul in the building.
99.
But he's a very busy man. I just want to sample some of his cooking.
58.
Wouldn't mind getting a few tips from him about different cuisines that he'll know a lot about.
Be a far cry from some of the culinary delights you had this evening.
121.
If I was writing a review of what I ate earlier this evening, it would be that it was edible.
58. Justin Uruguay,
It was quite the
101.
sight, is all I'm going to say.
The 118 was quite a sight.
61.
I'll tell you what else is happening here. Justin Hood is making fairly short work of Leonard Gates here.
100. Justin Uruguay.
And with a 3-1
40.
lead, I'm not sure he's going to relinquish control.
Game shown
Let's
the fourth
find out,
leg,
shall we?
Justin Hood.
Because we know that LG has won from 3-0 down. But you sense that someone like
Fifth
Justin
leg, Justin to
is more
throw
secure
first.
in his efforts
Game on.
than Diogo. Because as you've seen from him, he's not won a game tonight. And it will be Diogo versus Ashton in game
100.
9 after this.
But perhaps crucially as well, if Leonard Gates loses this game, he stays on 4 points. His final game tonight is against Jacob Taylor, who
100.
at the minute just looks all conquering in this Group B.
One thing that Jacob has not done this week so far
60.
is that he hasn't had a perfect day yet. He's won points every day. He's won 8 on Tuesday, 8 on Wednesday,
59.
6 on Monday. But there were 10 on offer on those days, so he didn't max out. He will have Leonard in his way to stop him again.
60.
Well, like I said, I think Jake is playing at a higher level than at any point this week.
96.
He's got 6 darts from 281 to get it done. It's a big ask.
But
it's still possible.
34.
At which point can we realistically say that Leonard Gates is in a whole heap of trouble here of losing his first game of the night?
47. Leonard
Only squares up for a ton.
46.
But can Leonard Gates, former baseball player, pitch a Hail Mary 146, double 16? He wasn't far away.
Justin, you require 100.
Now he's hoping that Justin does not find the requisite amount of 20s that he needs. Initially, his thought was
40.
go for 2 double
Leonard
tops if you
requires
missed the 60.
16.
But that guide was just too much. It was too inviting. Unfortunately, he couldn't find it.
Game shown the 5th leg.
This game
Leonard
continues. And I always talk about this. And I just want to bring it up one more time.
6th leg Leonard to
How do you
throw
beat people?
first. Game on.
Just make sure that your opponent does not get a match dart. Justin hasn't had one yet. And he might not get one.
60.
But that is a troublous start for Leonard Gates, which opens up the door of opportunity for Justin Hood against the darts.
96.
Just looking through the biography of Nicky Virashkal, the man I mentioned a little bit earlier, who made the semi-finals of the 1978 World
134.
Championship, ultimately won by Leighton Rees. Nicky Virashkal actually won a ranked event in his career in Houston, Texas,
58.
in 1978. Just a little bit of a
59.
connection between the life of Leonard Gates and someone who caresses the past of United States darts. He beat Frank Ennis in that final.
140.
He actually was from Texas as well, Nicky Virashkal.
100.
He's from Dallas.
What did they say about 6 degrees of separation?
Different heritages, I think.
97.
Nicky had a
a
time with Thailand. I wonder if they ever met. They have to ask Leonard that a little bit later in the week.
So they may have crossed paths when Leonard maybe was at the start and Nicky was at his end, possibly. But I know he came into the sport quite late, didn't he?
Yeah, and Nicky was sadly lost back in '99, so the window of opportunity was quite small, maybe.
54.
Talking of windows of
Leonard drew
opportunities, it may just be down to this
103.
to save Gates in this game, this 103. Not going to get a dart, and so Justin Hood is back for the match
55.
to condemn
Justin
Leonard Gates to his
56.
first defeat of the evening. Well, Happy Feet has showed some soul,
Game shot.
and he
and a
beats
match,
the soldier.
Justin Hood.
And of all the things he's done on his opening night at the Super Series, he puts himself in a really good position to qualify for Saturday night's final on debut. It's an impressive average, 86.75. It's efficient in terms of the checkouts as well. 4 out of 5. It's exemplary Another ton plus checkout. 118 for Happy Feet. That's kind of been his MO tonight here at the Super Series. Leonard Gates tastes defeat for the first time tonight. He's going to be back in the final game of the session against Jacob Taylor. We're going to take a short break. Upon our return, Lisa Ashton and Diogo Portela are playing for their first points of the evening upon our return.
Time for our penultimate match of the night then, and it sees Lisa Ashton take on Diogo Portela. A really huge match to give one of these two players a glimmer of hope heading into tomorrow night. Both looking for their first win of the session. Of course, the Lancashire Rose yet to produce the level that saw her amass 12 points in Group A. Can she do so here to finish her night strongly? Let's find out and rejoin Henry and Nico.
Search of points, and I suppose we can almost call this a elimination match to a certain degree.
To a certain degree, yes. Because if you walk away with 0 points, it's very much an uphill battle when you consider that Justin Hood has already got 6 points going into the Friday night play. Jacob Taylor is guaranteed 6 points. And Leonard Gates has got a chance of 6 points. It could well be all done and dusted by game 3 come Friday night, but these guys will be hoping that that is not the case.
They will be wanting carnage by this point tomorrow evening.
But we can't ignore the facts. We can't ignore the form. The form is good for the other 3.
First leg, Lisa to throw first. Game on.
The form for these two could be listed as questionable. But if you think about what happened on Monday, Ashton lost her first 4 games and crucially won that last match against Ryan Harrington. Can she do the same against Diogo just to stay within firing distance? Now, if she does win this game, for example, what's the right result for her in the last game of the night? You'd have to say it's a soldier win.
81.
The differences between Group C and Group B is that you can afford to have a little wobble on your first night and still make your way through, whereas in Group C, if you lose those first few games, your chances could be confined to the dustbin already.
Not to mention the fact that 3 people come through this group, only 2 in Group C. So when you talk about Jack Vincent and Ryan Harrington when it comes to 1 o'clock this afternoon, they need help. Not only do they have to win all of their matches,
80.
but they're going to need results to go their way.
40.
We'll need an MSS SOS.
Game shot on the first
And Ashton
leg.
calls in the first leg to lead 1-0.
Good start as well, 14 darts. That's the level that we saw in 4 legs
Game on.
from Jacob Taylor against Ashton in Game 7. I think he might have just given DJ Stefex the name of his new track once the other one is released. MSS SOS.
100.
Bit of a mouthful.
Sounds like the worst set of letters you could get on Countdown ever.
I've got a 4-letter word.
28.
Moss. That's it.
95.
I'll have to ask one of our production staff, Taylor, because he was playing Countdown earlier and he's really good at it.
Yeah, he's annoyingly good at everything, Taylor.
59.
One of our core members of staff here at the Super Series does an excellent job. Chief Scalper.
134.
Lisa's doing a pretty good job here. Hitting Diogo hard early. How much is he ruining the chance
99.
when he was 3-0 up against Leonard Gates? That was back in Game 3.
140.
He lost to Jacob Taylor in match 1. Ultimately, it's fair to say that Jacob was the best player. And you do lose from 3-0 up every now and again.
133. Alicia require 32.
But he can't afford to lose another heavy one.
Game
And he's 2-0 down already. What a performance this is from Lisa. And strangely, this is the kind of standard
Third leg, Lisa to throw first.
that we had from Diogo earlier in the first 2 legs of his game against Soldier. He wasn't able to sustain it.
125.
But this is Lisa Ashton, almost like Bubba Watson, who's missed a 3-foot putt, goes to the next tee and says, "Give me the driver," and just hits it as hard as they possibly
60.
can. This is Lisa playing annoyed.
This is turbocharge from Lisa Ashton. The first 2 legs was done in the space of 27 darts. Who's to say that the third's going to be done in just as quick a time? And we could be talking
59.
about record averages for a female player very, very soon if she carries on in this vein of form.
100.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she's averaged over 100 in a Super Series match yet. Maybe we're getting a bit too carried away. Great maximum from the Brazilians. His first of the contest. Ashton on double 18. And that is a 12-dart leg. What I can tell you now without getting too carried away, is that if she replicates leg 3, it will be a venue record. If it's 13, it will equal it.
85.
Over to you, Lisa.
$81.
I've watched Lisa play for years. She's sometimes very hard to read. Not right now.
25.
This is her taking her frustration out on that treble 20.
45.
Her record average is 98.22. The record average by female players 104.76 in this competition by Fallon Sherrock.
36. 93. 57.
Probably needs a 140 hit.
The venue record is safe.
41.
She has regressed in leg 4. But the key thing is, after all of that chatter that we brought up
94.
about records, the most important thing is to win 4-0 for her chances, because her leg difference sits at -9.
100.
That's not good.
We require 104.
No guarantee she wins this leg, because Diogo Portela now is staring down the barrel of double 4 for 104.
Police require 141.
For the final hurrah on Friday morning. She needed the 57 and double 12.
Diogo, you require 4.
I wouldn't miss this, Mr. Portela. Don't miss. Oh, that's a great dart.
Diogo Portela.
And again, he uses that step to the right to make the bed feel a bit bigger. When you've got his angle of attack, you can use that dart and the stem and the flight as a backboard.
60.
That was a good 60. If we go back to the conversation that we had earlier.
Good grouping.
48.
She does use up a little bit more real estate with those wider barrels, but has any female player in history used barrels like that to this effect? The answer is no.
100.
Almost like a bumper racing car. She uses it to bump one into another. Well, that's a perfect example. It's back-to-back 140s. She leads 161 after 9. We could be talking once again about the Fallon Sherrock 104.76 record here.
Every time we bring it up, she starts to regress though. I'm trying to keep it quiet.
47.
It's got no... I'm so superstitious, as you can see. But if she takes out the 114, it is going to be her personal best.
Police require 114.
But again, the key thing is she has 6 darts to dispose of the match.
94.
And a match dart has been missed. Diogo's been hit hard
100.
all night long.
Require 20.
Double 5.
No score.
Wow.
Diogo,
that was maybe the worst dart she's thrown all week.
But she's going to come back for more match darts. It's been an incredibly good performance from Lisa Ashton. The times threatening all sorts of records.
20.
But the only record she wants is 2 points on the board. But again, inside 16. On the double 5. And Diogo Portela here could still find his way back in this match.
18.
But he's missed 2 darts to bring it back to 3-2.
4.
And Ashton returns for double 2 to get the job done.
Game, shot,
And get the job done, she does. And what a performance from the Lancashire Rose. In the end, the average was just under 94, but for a large portion of that game, it was well in excess of the ton. Lisa Ashton gets 2 points to her name to finish the night off, to keep her chances of progression very much alive. Diogo Portela still won't get the opportunity to try and serve it through tomorrow, but he's going to have to go 4 from 4. Lisa Ashton's still in there with a chance. And so we head into our final game of the evening, and this promises to deliver as Leonard Gates takes on Jacob Taylor.
Well, before a dart had been thrown tonight, this was the mouth-watering clash that we had all been looking forward to. Jacob Taylor has not deviated from the level he produced in Group A, and last time out against Lisa Ashton equalled the highest average we've seen here this week, a 107.36 in a whitewash win. His level has been super consistent this week, and he can complete the Lou Reed, a perfect day if the Canadian can get the better of American Leonard Gates, who's looking to bounce back from defeat last time out. And surprisingly, in their last meeting on the CDC, both players averaged in excess of 90. Gates with the win on that occasion. To see who comes out on top in this one, here's Henry Deacon and Paul Nicholson.
Well, have we saved the best till last here at the Super Series on Thursday? We've been looking forward to this one in the commentary box quite palpably throughout the duration of the evening. And the evening session comes to a head with a battle of the USA and Canada. And when we say evening here in the UK, we're talking just past 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, if we're talking evening in America and Canada, we are talking prime time darts.
Yes, we are. Tuck yourself into a bit of dinner and a bit of prime time darts here as Canada takes on the United States. And this is not hockey. This, as Leonard Gates would say, is darts.
First leg, Leonard to throw first. Game on.
Interestingly, because I have a very strong northern accent from England, when I have driven from Canada into the United States on 2 occasions, I might add, border security have asked me, "What do you do for a living, sir?" And I say, "I work in darts." And they don't understand how I say it. So I had to mimic the accent of an American by saying, "I work in darts." And then they got it. And I had a conversation with someone earlier in the week, and they said that the border security people were quite rude. They were to me. They said, "You can make a living doing that?" So I promptly gave them my business card and said, "Yes, actually, because I'm number 9 in the world." That's when they let me in.
Well, out in these part of the world, they'd say they're 2 awesome shooters.
Absolutely. Good shooting there, Leonard.
100. Leonard,
I think this is great, you know, for World Darts to see one of the best from the USA up against one of the best from Canada. And the MODUS Super Series where worlds collide.
Talking about shooting and talking about American tournament names, there is a tournament in America called the Shoot for the Moon.
Yes, that's a good one. That will be the last one we talk about tonight when it comes to crazy tournament names.
Requires 61.
We'll think of some more for Friday night. That's definitely one of the best ones, Henry. Congratulations on that one. And congratulations to Leonard, who takes the first leg in 14 darts.
So good. We watched the double 8 again.
Second leg, Jacob to throw first. Game on.
Which footballer was it that they said so good they named him twice? Was it JJ Kocher?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of 2, that's how many 180s we've got in this game now. 1 each.
We thought this would be spicy. We thought this was going to be good. And this is warming up very nicely indeed.
I think Texan food is a bit spicier than Eastern Canadian food.
134.
I can imagine there being some really good barbecue in Houston. There's a bit of rivalry when it comes to that kind of thing in the United States. There's a lot of places that claim they have the best barbecue. Oh boy, what a great leg. Just when you think you've seen everything that Jacob can do,
Jacob requires 16.
He goes and leaves double 8 after 9.
Eight.
But doesn't take it out in the 4th visit. He'll be back.
$100.
I get the feeling that we could be having 7 legs of this. There's 2 of them done.
Jacob Taylor.
Well, if they're going to play at this standard, give me 7 legs of this. I'll tell you what, no, scrap that. Give me 7 sets of this.
To throw first. Game on.
I hate to shatter your desires, Henry, but all you're going to get is 7 legs at the very most. However, if you're planning your viewing for Friday evening, this will be the first fixture of day 2 in Group B. And that will be just after lunchtime in most parts of the United States and Canada.
22.
One of the things that the CDC have done with their darts over the last few years is that they've started to stream a lot of things as well, which gets these players really in tune with playing in front of cameras.
140.
There was a time where you'd only be in front of TV cameras maybe 3-4 times a year, even in certain promotions once a year. But now,
100.
when it comes to someone like Jacob Taylor, this is the 19th time he's played a game this week in front of cameras.
81.
He's just used to it now.
Just a part and parcel of his game.
Well, Leonard Gates, if you think about what he's done in the last 12 months, he's played at Lakeside,
65.
he's played at the Circus Tavern, he's played at Alexandra Palace, he's played here at the Super Series, he's played in Blackpool at the Champion of Champions. He's almost done a full bingo card of venues in a year.
140. Jacob, you require 100.
Tops. Oh, this is good. This is really good. Legs won in 14, 13, 14. These are two of the best players in North America. And boy, are we getting a true representation here.
58.
You just wonder, throughout the course of the week, Jacob has been finding his way and playing really well against players that maybe don't know a great deal about him.
140.
Players that maybe he doesn't know a great deal about. But it is always a little bit different when you're playing someone you've played before. And maybe someone that you want to beat just a little bit more.
60.
Beating Leonard right now will feel like a bit of a scalp. And let me tell you a little bit something about the last time Leonard was here.
140.
He lost by the odd leg to Owen Bates. And that win for Owen now looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Because of what Soldier's done since then.
100.
It's a tick on the CV for the Master. Who's mastered the Master of the Champion of Champions.
60.
Darts is all about circles, though. Things may come back around. And it wouldn't be strange to see Soldier against Bates again in Champions Week. First things first,
100.
Leonard's got to get there, and he's got to have to go through this guy to do it.
You would not rule this. Well, you're going to rule it out now.
He knows a dartboard inside and out, this guy. He didn't have to think about that too much. And my advice to Soldier right now is, don't miss. He might not.
89.
That could be costly.
Jacob,
and this is the
require
double
32.
that Leonard missed against Owen Bates in that final in week 2.
16.
Oh, that was a violent collision with his second
Leonard,
dart.
require 12.
And this time Leonard gets a reprieve.
It's double 6.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
He's back in the mix. He's back at 2-2. 16 darts. That's poor quality for this match.
Am I right in thinking that's 4 breaks of throw as well?
To throw first.
We are officially entering
Game on.
breakathlon territory.
Breakathlon?
A game that has loads of breaks will be called a breakathlon. That will just be called a max.
Welcome to Friday morning, everybody, where Henry Deacon has gone a little bit delirious and he's making up words.
You can't make this up. This is superb.
$140.
We have a saying in the UK, now they're cooking with gas. But in North America, they like to cook with wood and coals because it tastes better.
$100.
This is a tremendous leg. Gates is finding a level that he hasn't had all night.
60. Leonard require 81.
He's been forced to eke out this level, though.
Now, what's he going to do? Is he going to go for the 12 in bull? Or is he going to risk it? He's going to respect him.
56.
He thinks that Jacob can hit this.
161.
On this occasion, Jacob can't.
137.
But you can barely split these guys.
Jacob Taylor's crime in this leg could be only leaving double 12 after 12.
17.
He knew that was missing as soon as it left his hand.
24.
Double 12 for another break of throw.
Game
That's 5.
Jacob Taylor.
My kingdom for a hold of throw, said Jacob.
6-leg Jacob to throw first. Game on.
It's a pentathlon breakathlon here at the Super Series.
140.
140 start. There's been 9 of them between the pair in this match. There's been 4 maximums. The quality has been absolutely
100.
extraordinary. We said in these seats we may well save the best till last tonight. Boy, have we. This would grace any stage
85.
in World Darts. Any stage. And would be a headline act.
95.
The only shame is we're at the best of 7 legs mark in terms of distance and format.
60.
And whilst we have the opportunity, just a little shout out to our North American friends who are tuning into us here at the Super Series. It's great to have your involvement across social
85.
media. Todd Perry, Justin Donnelly, we've been seeing your tweets. Todd Perry tuning in from
100.
Jake Taylor's home province of Newfoundland. Well, Taylor could be 116 points away from taking out the perfect night here at the Super Series, but Gates is hot on his heels, leaving 81 after 12, and so this could way well have to go. That's a nice lie, but he couldn't find it, and so Gates returns
60.
for 81 for a 6th break of throw, and to send us the distance. It's going to be 2 in his hand at double 12. And all the way we go, into the top corner it goes, and you can hear the reaction from Leonard Gates. And it has the last leg that this match has craved and desired. It has deserved for what they would call quality shooting
100.
out America and Canada. These are the averages. It has crept higher than that at times in this match, but they have obtained an incredible level.
100.
This is what the MODUS Super Series is about. The best players around the world
96.
without a tour card slinging it out in elite level battles.
55.
But now we get the fun element of it, because these two are going through the mire.
140.
140 leads them on 165. Couple of trebles here for Leonard Gates. Will put him in a good position. One would still leave him on a finish.
60.
That doesn't come, and so against the darts again. Jacob Taylor has 6 on 165. And how handy is he going to leave this?
133.
Leads himself on 32 after 12 in a deciding leg. And all Leonard Gates can do is hit and hope.
85. Jacob, you require 32.
To sign off
Game,
an incredible
shot,
game of
Jacob
darts.
Taylor.
Jacob Taylor beats Leonard Gates by 4 legs to 3. And you have to stand up and applaud both players in what has been a Super Series classic. North American darts showcased to the highest degree. Taylor with a 98 average, Gates a 95, sharing 4 maximums in that match. But it is Jacob Taylor who seals a perfect night, 4 from 4. And he's oh so close to qualification now for tomorrow night, Saturday night's final, shall I say. Leonard Gates on 4 points, Justin Hood on 6. And so let's get some final thoughts and reflections on a quality night's worth of arrows up on the balcony with Paul Nicholson and Abigail Davies.
Wow, we have been looking forward to that match all day, and it certainly did not disappoint. You have to say, Jacob Taylor, is anything this week going to faze him?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything going to stop him making Saturday night as well. That was a brilliant display in Group B. His first perfect campaign, and his points tally every day is just so impressive. And it's almost a surprise that on one of the days this week, he only got 6 points.
It is indeed. Right then, let's have a look at the league standings at the halfway point. We mentioned, didn't we, at the end of the Group A campaign, that Jacob Taylor really, in most other Group A's, would have done enough to automatically qualify for finals night. It looks as though he is going to be there. One more win will seal it for him tomorrow night. But Justin Hood in second place. How impressed have you been with his debut campaign?
Very, very impressed with it this evening and into the early hours. I think 6 points is a very fair reflection on what he's done. If you look at his leg difference, it's exactly the same as Jacob Taylor, and that tells you a little something. And they had a really great battle, didn't they, when they played each other earlier on tonight. But Leonard Gates at 4 points, just a little bit precarious. He's just got to tighten things up in the second night of the campaign. And Lisa Ashton is very much in the running now. And I suppose you would have to say, because Gates and Taylor play each other in Game 1 on Friday evening, the right result for her is for Taylor to win again.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa Ashton certainly leaving herself with a chance of making it through to finals night, especially with the performance level in that final game. But it was pretty similar, wasn't it, to her Group A campaign? Lost her opening 4, then won her final game. She's done similar again tonight. Do you think there's a possibility Leonard Gates could actually miss out on finals night?
There's always a possibility of that, but when things get down to the crunch, you've got to look at the people who are able to get through. He's done it before because he has been to a Saturday night in this stage of Super Series 3. But I had a little interaction with Lisa on the way up here towards the end of our session, and she's annoyed by what's happened this week. She's been put in some very precarious situations. I think she was quite defiant in her words, so watch out for that in the first couple of rounds tomorrow night.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to be taking her on in that first game, so good luck to Diogo Portela in that one. We will be back, though, from 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, of course, our new start time for Group C. We'll be back to begin with on the MODUS YouTube channel and then back on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m. for the conclusion of Group C to find out the 2 players who will be joining Berry Vampire in finals night. So make sure you come and join us from 1 p.m. tomorrow. It should be a really thrilling action.